as to what that experience will be.
I would say
Which is
so.
why after playing Final Fantasy XIV, I've come to call it an RPG MMO. Because while all the multiplayer elements are there, I believe they aren't entirely necessary. If the MMO were removed and all we were left with was the RPG, the story, the music, the gameplay, it feels like the player would still have a complete experience. This is because...
Well, this is even like they said this, like the Final Fantasy devs said that it was a Final Fantasy game first and an MMO second. So it actually makes sense that that this would be the outcome. Is that they've literally said this.
Team behind Final Fantasy XIV, from its inception, has put its focus squarely on storytelling. This design choice then influences every other aspect of the game, from characters to world building, to music to animation, all serve to enhance the storytelling. It is without a doubt the single most vital aspect of Final Fantasy XIV. Everything comes from the story, everything is related to the story, and everything exists to service the story.
See, this is one part of the game that I don't really know if I'll enjoy as much because, like, obviously I care about the lore in games and, you know, it's interesting to me, but it's not really something that keeps me coming back. And I don't really know if a story-based game that's on this level really is going to captivate me in the same way. And it's hard really for me to say. I don't know. What do you guys think? You can skip the story if you have focus? Yeah. And it's like, I guess that's really the truth, right? It's like, I can skip and I can play the part of it that I want to play. I think that's what I'm going to try to do. It's the same thing that I do with every game.
So as we move forward in this video, you'll see every time I bring up a comparison or idea in Final Fantasy XIV, it's going to be in some way related to the story. And it's because of this one fact that Final Fantasy and WoW can still feel similar to a player moving between the two, but also be vastly different experiences. Let me just throw this out there. What was the story of vanilla World of Warcraft? If you had to think, it's because there was no story. There were quests, there was lore, certainly different adventures to get involved in, but no overarching story.
I would say that's not entirely true, but I can see why some people would think that. I think that there were a lot of kind of... The thing is that World of Warcraft did not have a story that was in its entirety like one congruent narrative. It had a bunch of different smaller stories that were occurring simultaneously. So it had like the Alliance storylines, it had like the Night Elf storylines, it had the Undead storylines, and those kinds of things were something that was a holdover from Warcraft 3, because while those storylines converge, they were also independent in their own campaigns. That's lore, not storytelling. Well, I think that like it did have storytelling, it just wasn't storytelling that was universal. I don't really know how that's hard to understand.
There was no driving force behind what you were doing, besides the desire to gain levels, to see what's around the next bend or explore the next zone. The story of the World of Warcraft was what you, the player, made. It was trying to find the right Zephyrs in the Barrens. It was sneaking into the undeveloped Mount Hydra. It's trying to raid the enemy capital. Those were the experiences we remember. In fact, the most recent example of a great WoW memory I have is getting the Alliance Horde Slayer title, that achievement in BFA. The whole point is that you kill enough enemy players to literally be marked on the map as a bounty, and then people try to come kill you, and if you survive long enough, you get a world quest. It was one of the most exhilarating recent memories I have of the game. I loved every moment. In Final Fantasy XIV, if you ask someone their favorite moment, and I did, almost every single person is going to say theirs is related to story. Obviously, this isn't every player. Many players find the same camaraderie and accomplishment as WoW players when taking down harder bosses. But for the majority of players, the story is not just an important part of the game. It's also something that binds the community together. With that said, after years of playing WoW, to say there isn't a fan base for the world or story building they're doing would be foolish.
I think obviously like the story in the game in WoW has always been like I think that WoW definitely the best experiences that you have in WoW are the experiences that occur with other players. And I think that's just like that's one thing I liked about WoW. That's one thing I do like about WoW now is that like whenever I go and I think back to like my really good BFA memories, it's not really about like the cinematics. I mean, I think there were a few good cinematics in BFA, yeah, sure. But like what I've really enjoyed is playing with my viewers, you know, doing the different events together, and that kind of stuff is really what's so cool to me. And that's what I find to be like really fulfilling with an MMO is being able to have those like personal experiences with other players. You guys see kind of what I'm saying? And like that's what I've really thought MMOs were special about is that they created a foundation for those experiences to occur and a foundation for people to enjoy those kinds of things together. That's what I really like.
As I am one. Well, let's be real. The majority of players simply do not care about the plot of Warcraft.
No, they don't.
I'd have to guess that's because it was never really the driving force of the game that got them playing in the first place.
Exactly.
And more importantly, sticking with it. The fact is, as Blizzard moves more towards storytelling in their more recent expansions, they've developed multiple ways of getting across major plot information to players who may be interested, but it's not integral for the player's enjoyment.
Well, the thing is, the reason why the storytelling people have diverged from enjoying the storytelling of WoW is because it occurs through so many different mediums that unless you're like super engaged with it, it's hard for you to keep track of everything that's been happening. So, for example, like how do people know? Like, I think the best example of this is the Shadowlands cinematic. Like, how do people know that Sylvanas is actually, she's actually like this super powerful being that's being empowered by the jailer? Well, there are things in the game that tell you that. There's the books that tell you that. But in terms of the base cinematics, you don't really know that. And so for a very casual player, they just see something that doesn't make sense to them, and it annoys them. And I think that's the problem, is that like the lore in WoW is occurring, it occurs in cinematics, it occurs in those like these like little picturesque like comic book cinematics, it occurs in game, it occurs in the like kind of character cinematics, it occurs in books, and it gets clarified on Twitter and stuff like that, and in like different Q&As. Like and so unless you are looking at all of these things, you are going to have things that get lost in translation, things that don't really make sense. And I do think that WoW would benefit a lot from making a lot more cinematics. Like, they need to just focus more. If they want people to appreciate the story that they have invested so much time into making, they need to make more cinematics. Because people will watch the cinematics, but they're not going to read a quest line, and they're not even going to sit around to listen to an NPC talk. Like, they're not even going to do that. The voice acting, if like it's not voice acted, it doesn't count. It's like not even, it doesn't even exist.
It's this delivery that provides the necessary surface level context to keep a player engaged.
Yeah.
But has also formed a complicated relationship with players who do enjoy story and world building in Warcraft. Team leads, devs change, shifting the vision for each expansion to fit what is essentially the rule of cool. While main story beats are planned ahead, it's very clear that things have changed or will change based on necessity. Main characters vanish, story elements left behind, and lore's retcon to fit with the moment. As a big old hoarder, years of that have definitely left me kind of jaded when it comes to WoW.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff that's happened with the lore that I don't really think makes a lot of sense, and it wasn't really fulfilling for me as somebody who's been watching the content for a long time. I don't really like that a whole lot. Also, like, I don't like a lot of the endings of the stories. Like, that's really what it comes down to. I don't like endings. Like, I don't like what happened at the end of 8.3. Like, in my opinion, what would be the ideal ending of 9.1? The ideal ending of 9.1 is that we either kill Sylvanas or we imprison her. And the ending of 9.2, in my opinion, here's what it should be. It should be we confront the jailer, and it plays a cinematic of N'Zoth killing all of us in BFA. And the fact is that we are supposed to be in the Shadowlands because everybody is actually dead. That would be fucking cool. That would be really fucking badass. And let's go ahead and let's shake things up a little bit. That would be so awesome. And where is that? Like, Sylvanas, here's what I think. I said this yesterday. Here is my opinion of what the Sylvanas story arc should end as. The Sylvanas story arc should end as her being forced into being the Lich King after we deal with the jailer. She gets eternal life, but she spends it imprisoned in a way that she doesn't want to be. That is the perfect ending for Sylvanas' story, and I cannot think of anything that is better that kind of matches all the different parallels of her storyline and her motivations, that this would not just be the perfect solution to all of them. She still exists in the game, she is still, to some degree useful, but she is also in prison. I think that is the best way of handling it. I didn't like how Sargeras We didn't even get to talk to Sargeras. It's been 10,000 years, Sargeras. Can't we get a few lines of dialogue like, hey, how are you doing? How's the Void Lord situation? What's up? You know, nothing. We didn't even get to talk to him. That's what I'm not happy about. And like, yeah, some of the quest lines and storylines in the game are not fulfilling. I think one of the only fulfilling storylines in the game is, I think Von Swambi's storyline is good, and I think that Jaina's storyline is good. I think both of those are very good, and the other ones are not. And yeah, I guess Zappy Boy too is still kind of like a minor character.
Silly example is years ago at BlizzCon, I asked the devs about that weird
I remember this.
track. I was like, what is that thing?
Yeah.
Their response then, and ever since, it's pretty much been, we really don't know.
Yeah, we have no
Perhaps it was
idea.
snuck in, perhaps it was dropped content. Who knows? All I can say is, if it was in Final Fantasy XIV, that Snake Tail would not only have had a purpose, but it would have shown up 2 expansions later as an important character in an ongoing story.
And it should have. It should have
Yep,
been
this
wild.
is going to be one of those videos that's long enough to be split into multiple parts.
Oh, good.
But it's good, because it allows us to dive a little deeper. When it comes to content, both games feature the staples of the MMORPG genre to different degrees. Leveling, dungeons, raids, PvP, special events, grinds, and daily quests. In fact, some of the 2 dev teams are friends, and they definitely borrow ideas from each other all the time. Yoshi P, the director of Final Fantasy XIV, is notably a huge Blizzard fan. The difference, of course, comes from what the dev teams have decided the focus of their games should be.
I think a lot of the people that make MMOs probably like WoW. I mean, at least like they can respect WoW. It's not like they don't like WoW. It's just that WoW has so many limitations.
Best way I can simplify this is to say that Warcraft is more about the destination. Final Fantasy XIV is more about the journey. As an example, in WoW, the leveling process in, say, a new expansion is a buffer between you and max level where the real game starts.
Yeah.
I was once told by a friend that he always thought of it as advertisements for places that later on at max level you'll spend time grinding. Once you've leveled up,
That's
you can
interesting
begin
way to
doing
look at
harder
it.
dungeons, farming gear in Mythic Plus, running raids, joining PvP battlegrounds or arenas, and doing your daily quests or grinding rank. And for years, this has not only been a pretty standard MMORPG cycle, but WoW has been the best at it. The goal, of course, is keeping players engaged and logged in. And going back to our original story discussion, doing most of these things continues the Warcraft story as well. In Final Fantasy XIV, it's a bit different. With the story being the most important part, this means leveling isn't just a rush to max level to experience the cool parts. Cool parts are the leveling. At max level, there are certainly raids and dailies and grinds and PvP.
That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to boost in Final Fantasy, is I knew that so many people cared a lot about the story that I didn't want to boost through it, because I feel like for a game like Final Fantasy, if you boost through the story, then you're not going to understand what people are getting out of it. Like, you're not gonna get it. And also, like, another reason why I'm not gonna boost is, like I said this before, if I boost and I say something about the game sucks, even if it has nothing to do with the boost, people are still gonna say I don't know what I'm talking about because I boosted. I can't boost. I can't, and I know that. I know what people are gonna do.
But they're nowhere near the complexity of WoW. Leveling up a job in Final Fantasy XIV isn't just about the leveling process either. Sure, in WoW you can level up an alt, experience the other faction's story, and a lot of people enjoy that.
Yeah.
But in Final Fantasy XIV, each job has its own story and quests associated with it.
That's cool.
You know, they're varying in size and scope. Like the Dark Knight, for example, is universally loved for being some of the best storytelling in the game. But again, story is what it's about. Most
That's
large-scale
badass.
raids only have one difficulty level. There are more events than actual team-building struggles. Those
Yeah.
raids and trials that do have harder modes are canonically fan fiction versions of the events. So players who are just there for the story won't miss anything if they don't have time for harder content. PvP, while vibrant, is nothing close to that of WoW. Reputations and dailies exist, but not in a way that forces the player to spend a significant amount of time investing in them. But you're rewarded in a way that makes it feel like you're kind of getting one over on the devs for the amount of time you actually put into it. Let me give you some specific examples. Let's talk about reputation grinds. Admittedly, in WoW, I haven't played much beyond the start of max level content in Shadowlands, and this may be different, but if we look at most reputation grinds, it's usually something along the lines of like, you earn
Reputation grinds in WoW right now are world quest counters.
Like, you could replace the reputation bar with an achievement that says complete 150 world quests, and you pretty much have the exact same experience. It's garbage. Like, the reputations are garbage. Like, the reputations have not been good in WoW. Like, there have been a few times, like, I think that in Mists of Pandaria, I think a lot of the reputations were really cool. They had a lot of different interesting ones. And even with, like, there were a few cool reps in Legion too, but I would love to go back. I would love to go back. I actually thought tabard grinding in Heroics was garbage too. Like, it was just trash. It's like you just put on a tabard and just run dungeons over and over and you get exalted. Like, oh, what is this, man? It's just, it's boring. It's just trash. Like, let's go back to the good reputations. Let's go back to the Netherling reputation. Let's go back to Talon's Vengeance and Legion. And like, the Angler reputation was so good. And like, listen, the reps in the game used to be interesting, and there are still some good reputations, absolutely. But the majority of them are world quest counters, and they are boring.
750 reps a day, with a weekly bonus of some sort.
Yeah.
40 to 50k rep to reach exalted. So you're looking at, I don't know, over a month of rep farming to reach max reputation. This, of course, is part of the design to keep you engaged in the world longer.
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy XIV, well, some of the older reputations are pretty similar. The newer ones, Pixel, for example, are designed not only to be fast, but to be very rewarding. Every day you get 3 quests that take roughly 15 minutes to complete. And as a reward, you get tons of reputation, tokens that you can eventually buy rep items with, and then loads of experience. I'm talking like a quarter of your XP bar for 3 quests. Wow. This is great because not only does it make grinding rep easy, but it also rewards you for doing it on one of your other jobs, incentivizing you to level additional classes. Let's take another example. Unlocking flight. In WoW, unlocking flight has always been a process. A thing that you really had to earn.
Yeah.
Currently, I think to unlock flight is something like getting Renown 44, completing the last sigil, and having completed Chapter 12 of the Covenant campaign. You're receiving the memories to unlock account by flying,
And it's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't think that the Pathfinder was fine the first 2 times. The problem with Pathfinder is you can't do it every single time. In my opinion, as I said, you know what I would have fucking wanted to do to unlock flying in Shadowlands? Press spacebar. That's it. Press spacebar. Everybody logs in on patch day, and you can fly. It's that fucking simple. And it would be such a cool moment. Like, everybody logs on, and they're like,
oh, Q2, oh my god, this be too, right?
it'd be so badass, right? And that's what I want to see. But like the Renown 44 and everything, like, it's really not that bad. Like, all things considered, the system that they have is really, it's really not that bad. It's okay in Shadowlands.
You can do.
Final Fantasy XIV. Welcome to your Walmart.
You're on the road to a good financial future, but what if you could do better? With Credit Karma, you can see if there are better rates for loans and insurance, and see if you're maximizing your card rewards, so your money goes further into a Credit Karma.
At what point does a salad become a salad? Is it when you add fried chicken, wontons, citrus vinaigrette? Or is it when you top it all with an egg roll? Clearly the egg roll. The Zaxby's Sensation Salad. Zaxby's.
3, 2, 1. Madam President, we have a situation. If you want to live, you'll follow my lead.
My campaign advisors kept telling me to lean into my military background.
This is not what they meant.
20, rated R.
You can do it Shadowlands. In Final Fantasy XIV, while exploring the map that you're already exploring anyway, you use the compass to find little green wind orbies, and when you find them all, complete the area story arc, you unlock flying for that specific zone.
Oh, that account fly.
That's really cool. It's easy enough to get just by going through the leveling process.
That's really
From a
cool.
design standpoint, I love this.
Yeah.
When I first learned this is how you got flying in Final Fantasy XIV, I was actually angry about all the time WoW made you waste. In Final Fantasy XIV, you get to experience the zone, which is what WoW's trying to get you to do, but 14 doesn't gate your ability to move through it quicker in the future behind some sort of grind.
Yeah.
Which has probably got a few of you now thinking, Jesse, you're making it seem like you don't have to work for much in Final Fantasy XIV, but of course you do. There are things like fancy relic weapon grind, stuff like that, but not nearly to the degree that WoW makes you grind out stuff. Honestly, I think we're so used to Blizzard making us go through content multiple times for months in order to unlock something like FFXIV that anything less seems ridiculously easy. But that shouldn't be the case,
That's a good
gang.
point. Yeah.
I don't know anyone who enjoys it, but we still do it. It all just comes down to the fact that the Final Fantasy XIV devs are not trying to keep you in their world for countless hours. So,
Yeah, I think that's another thing that I know that PoE has said this before. That they said that they're okay with people that play the season for a while and then they quit. And I think that's the way a lot of people handle things. Is that they play WoW or they play PoE. They get to 93 or 95, and they get some of their gear, and then they stop playing the game. And I think that a game should be built with that in mind. And I think that's one of the successes of something like TBC, because you can actually have an endpoint in TBC. I think the games that make you continuously play forever end up just being bad games because they're pursuing something that's not fundamentally, they're looking at it from the wrong perspective. It's like the game should, this is some fucking bullshit I thought of, right? I said a game should make you want to waste your time rather than waste your time. And I think if you make content that wastes people's time, people do not want to do that. People want to have goals that they can work towards that are their own.
it seems like everything is a little easier than the old.
Oh, man.
Devs have literally said they don't care if you log in everything. Get what you want from their game. Come back when you want more.
Yeah.
Instead, the grindy bits of Final Fantasy XIV are something entirely different. I recently saw this ad for Final Fantasy XIV, and it made me laugh because I've never seen anything like this for WoW. But most Final Fantasy XIV players will tell you this is where the majority of your max level adventure lies.
Look what brought that gun and don't even raise there, gathering, housing, transport, gambling. What is this, Twitch? What the fuck? This is a joke. Where's the raid? Where's the dragon? There's this dragon to kill, and there's a bigger dragon after that. And then there's an even bigger dragon after you kill the big dragon. It's yes! What is this? I don't know if I'll be able to handle it. The thing is, I am a goal-oriented player. I always have been. I think I probably always will be. I don't know if I can paradigm shift in my head to not being like that. However, I do plan on, I want to complete some of the bigger grinds in the game just to say that I did it, just to finish it and be done with it, man. I'm going to be honest, between now and the end of the year, I'm probably going to be playing video games at least 12 hours a day. And it's going to be so good, man. I'm going to be playing all the fucking time. I'm going to be popping off. Yeah, it's going to be insane, bro.
Here's the thing. Gathering, crafting, free companies or guilds, housing, faction, the gold saucer, which is a permanent version of the Dark Moon Fair.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, yeah, this is pretty much endgame in Final Fantasy XIV. That's not to say 14 doesn't have challenging content for those looking for more traditional MMO raiding experience.
That's what I care about.
But the point I'm trying to make is that in WoW, the endgame focus is on harder and harder raiding, mythics, PvP, both arena, battleground, and world, with all the other things the game existed to even do so. In 14, the endgame focus is more diverse. Although there are savage and ultimate difficulty raids designed for those who want a more challenging experience, there's also things like building a cool guild house, or crafting a special weapon from a weird boss drop, or going on treasure hunts. There's more to do than just raiding for the sake of raiding. Speaking of crafting, one of the biggest issues I have with WoW is that crafting for so long has seemed totally pointless when Looking for Raid was created.
Yeah, because crafting sucks. Crafting has not been good. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, maybe. Crafting hasn't been good since Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade was the apex of crafting. It was the best crafting has ever been, and it's not even close. Legion was not even close to Burning Crusade. Vanilla WoW was not even remotely close. Burning Crusade was so much better than Vanilla WoW in terms of crafting, it's not even funny. Burning Crusade was never crafting, was an actual progression path. Every other point in time in the game, it wasn't. It was so good. It actually makes me mad to think about how good used to be.
Wrath crafting was good.
No, it wasn't. It was trash. It was absolute trash. All you would do is you got the same, like, what do you just, like, what was cool about wrath crafting? You could get gear that would get replaced in next Tin Man. Oh, wow, super cool. It was useless, man.
Any gear you could craft, say, as a leather worker, was useless for those who could just get raid gear easily.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, with Final Fantasy XIV, gathering and crafting is very much a major part of the endgame experience.
I'm really curious to see how New World is going to do this, too, because New World is going to have a huge factor of crafting with their stuff, too. So I really want to see that as well.
If you're curious about other things, PvP, for example, I mean, in this case, WoW definitely wins this one.
Yeah.
There is PvP in Final Fantasy XIV in the form of war games, and there are many people who enjoy it. It's just that there's a wider variety of our community in WoW. It is, after all, part of the core concept, faction warfare. This doesn't exist in 14. There are no warring player factions. In fact, much of the story is about getting all the nations of the world on the same team. But the thing is, as WoW attempts to add more story, the PvP they're doing makes less and less sense narratively. And that's, I mean, just the tip of the iceberg of the endgame experience. There's a lot more to talk about. But since we are talking endgame, I think we should flip it and do the starting experience. Going back,
So, like, I would say that, like, PvP is, like, I've never heard a lot of good things about Final Fantasy PvP. But I'm not really much of a PvP player. Like, I don't really give a shit that much. It doesn't really matter to me. So it's like, if the game has PvP that's really good, like, that's cool. But my perspective has always been that if I want to play PvP, I will play a PvP game. I will play, like, Valorant. I will play Halo. I will play Call of Duty. I'm going to play an actual game that is designed for PvP, rather than play an MMO that kind of has a shoehorned in. While PvP is cool, but the main reason why it's cool is because you can get good gear and destroy people. Like, that's the main reason why it's good.
to the design philosophy of the game, we can see differences in the premise of each and how it affects your intro into the game.
Okay.
In World of Warcraft, you start your experience as just one of the many faces in service of your chosen faction.
I prefer
Over
that.
time, your actions and defeating various threats increase your importance to the world. In Final Fantasy XIV, you are literally the warrior of light, the chosen hero from moment one. There is no denying your importance to the story. The entire narrative revolves around you. Even though initially you're not recognized as such, I mean, that's what you are. Quickly proving yourself to the world. From that point on, every character not only acknowledges you, but they recognize the importance of your role over theirs. So, add that to the story being the most important element. And you'll see how this might be a daunting task for some new players.
Yeah.
Much of the 14 starting experience is pretty slow.
It's like WoW has that too, right? Like WoW definitely has that. Like you the champion that has Azeroth and everything like that. I personally, like, every game tells a story differently, so I can't, like, say for sure I do or I don't like it in Final Fantasy XIV because I haven't played it. But what I can say is that, like, I don't really like storylines where, yeah, you're the mall walker, oh my god, you saved everybody. It just, to me, I'm not about it, man. Like, I like the idea of an MMO that allows you to create your own narrative. Like, a player narrative is really important, I think, in an MMORPG, because players can have their own narratives that exist. And whenever you create a narrative for the character, then you basically, like, box that character's narrative in, or you have to make it more headcanon and not actually, like, what the character's done. I think for everybody it's a little bit different, but to me, I like kind of blank slate, faceless adventurer style MMOs rather than the savior of the world MMOs. And, like, I prefer that. Like, it's like Dark Souls is a good example. Like, and Dark Souls really maybe isn't, right, because he, like, ends up winning the flame. But, like, you start off, and you're a chosen undead, but so is every other undead that tries to go through there. That's why you loot all the souls, because it's other people that have tried before you. And so you obtain that, but you're not treated that way. If that makes sense.
World building, character introduction, lasting roughly the first 50 levels. I actually think this is one of the biggest problems Final Fantasy XIV had, as it's a hard sell to explain how phenomenal this game becomes only after you put in 40. But that's exactly what I was told, and what I have told others.
I think honestly,
The strong connection to narrative hurts the starting experience, especially for new players who may have tried playing or seen an amazing moment from a recent expansion, but they can't play
Oh man.
all of that story set up to build out the rest of the world. So when you skip over the starting experience, the amount of stuff you miss is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And because the story is so well told, and all the characters, locations, factions, etc., are so perfectly fit into the puzzle that is the main plot, that when twists happen, they make perfect sense. When reveals are made, it's like, oh yeah, of course. All because of that level 160 experience laying the foundation. And as I said, I've experienced both of them. Years ago, when the game first came out, I gave it a shot, and around level 40 was totally burned out. It wasn't until I returned last year looking for something new that I gave the game a second chance with the recommendation of a friend. I'm so glad I listened, because for a fan of the story like me, what this game offers is a fantastic experience. Sadly, the reason behind Final Fantasy XIV around before its slow start can be traced back to its origin as a reboot of the disaster that was the original Final Fantasy XIV. The budget was small, the timetable was short, and it showed. It isn't until the later patches, the first expansion, Heavensward, the game truly shines. The production value skyrockets, the writing is less long-winded, the voice actors change. Just about everything is better than where it started. And
Yeah, they remade the game, which is like, that's definitely, it's a big dick decision. It absolutely is, and that's one of the things that I wish that WoW would do. I wish they would take a big dick decision like that and really try to just delete everything and redo the whole game, right? I would love to see that. But I think there's so many people that are like so attached to their characters, like armor and their items and everything like that, that they would not want to see that happen. For me personally, and like there's another part of this where it's like, why would I really want them to do that if the same people that make Shadowlands
Oh, I'm sleepy.
well, it's gonna be just a bunch of Shadowlands, right? So I get why it's not necessarily a great idea. However, that would be in a perfect world what I would like to see. I do think that the game does need an extinction event. It doesn't need an apocalypse. It needs a reset. It needs a Noah's flood, something like that to happen to like remake the world and reset everybody back down to zero. Because there's just so much bloat in the game in like all these different ways. There's like 2,000 reputations or 2,000 pets, 200 reputations, 1,000 mounts, 10,000 transmogs, like 5,000 titles. Like there's just too many fucking things in the game. And they need to find a way to just delete all that shit and move on and do it again.
Oh man.
You might know Harbor Freight for affordability. What you might not know is performance and durability go right along with it. You see, we test, and then we test again. World-class engineering and rigorous testing to ensure our tools perform at the highest
I
level
clicked
and
on it.
stand the test of time without testing your wallet. Now, it's time for you to put us to the test.
Well, I never thought this day would come. Even as it is happening, I am still goddamn it piece of shit.
Alright guys, a lot of people have asked me to play this game. People have been asking and begging me to play this for months now. And I have been against it day and day and day and day over again. And the reason for that is just purely because of the fact that the theme of the game has always been slightly off-putting for me, I'll be honest. However, I'm willing to give it a chance. What's going on? Wait, what? Wait, what is this? What the fuck? That just ran like, what the fuck is this? Oh, this is whenever all the dinosaurs went extinct. I remember that dude, that sucked, man. It's the Death Star. Oh my god. Oh fuck. Get in your bomb shelter, man. Go in the bomb. Get in the house. Fuck, how are you doing? is this? I can't turn up the volume right now. I'll re-equalize everything after this. That's gonna be me right there. You like that? Yeah, see that shit? Fuck yeah, dude. Look at that. Wait, how do you bring a gun? How do you bring an axe to a gunfight? Just sounds like a bad time. What the fuck was that? Yeah, I'll play this one. This is badass. What the fuck even is that? Oh shit. It's Sargeras' sword. What the fuck? Oh my god. It's deathly. Jesus Christ. So they actually... Wait. So they straight up did a cataclysm. That's so badass. Jesus. Oh, like everybody just stops and just watch the dragon just like deleting everybody. Bro, this sucks. What the fuck? Oh shit. Oh fuck. That's so badass. Was this like Gandalf? There's no way you're gonna be able to kill that fucking dragon. This guy's huge. Oh wait. Oh, they put him in jail, dude. What the fuck? Safe? Yeah, apparently not, dude. This dragon's massive. See, this is why I always play mages in games. Look at the warriors, they just stand there. They're out of range. Yeah, this is why you play a mage. Damn, that's fucking badass. So he killed all of them? The dragon did. Wow. So that's how the world got unmade. So that's where you start the world. So this is... Wait, so one of these guys is me? Wait, no way. No, I was about to say, dude. Okay. This is nice. So these are the cat girls. Okay. Great. This is exactly what I was expecting. Dragon happened 5 That's crazy. So all of these guys in the story, like these are all like characters in the story, right? These aren't just like random NPCs. Oh, is this an Nazgul? Oh, never mind. Actually, kind of is. That guy's bad. How do I play that? How do I play that right there? What class is that? What class is that? I want to play that. Oh, it's a raid boss? Ah, fuck. Oh, that thing was a mount. Oh, this is where the Lich King is. Fuck, dude. I like the forest areas. Oh, great. Where are they gonna go? They're teleported to a new... Oh, wait. So he was the one that teleported them away. Oh! So, bro, the Gandalf teleported them away. And this is just like, I was wondering if it's... Oh, okay, I see it. I got it now. Yeah, Gandalf saved them. Damn. He teleported them 5 years in the future. Okay. Music's good. I like this. It's cool. A Realm Reborn. Damn, that's a good way to remake the game. That should have done that actually with Cataclysm. Just fucking delete everything, man. Redo the whole thing. That was fucking cool, dude. That was fucking badass. Alright, boys. Let's make the character. Here we go. Alright, how do I make a new character? Okay, alright, we're making a new character. Now, this is my first character here, mobile. I made a character just so I can have it on like the server, and that was it. Okay, so we've got humans, we've got elves, we have cat boys, we have hulks, we have spicy elves, and we have let's see. Oh wait. Oh, it's the expansion race. Okay, I get it. You're on free trial. I didn't know. I pre-ordered the Endwalkers thing, and I thought that would give me Shadowbringers. I don't really know how it works. I'm gonna go with the human anyway, right? Because I know Viera are the fucking cat. I know it's the cat girls, right? I'm fully aware of that. So let's try this first, okay? This is the first thing I want to see first. How do you do the boob slider? Bust size. That was easy. Okay. Alright. No, I think it could go a little... I think we could go up to like 200 or so here if they ever want to change it. But this is great. This is the first thing I wanted to check. Alright, now let's actually play the game. So I'm going to be... I know I want to change things up. I want to do something different. I'm going to go with a human male. Okay, so confirming this. And, alright, his clan is Midlander or Highlander. Oh, wait, what the fuck? Damn, bro, this guy looks badass. What the fuck? Bro, he looks straight off like he looks like he's straight off a Viking ship. Oh, bro, we're going with this 100%. We're going with this 100%, dude. Highlanders were the first of the higher reason. Their name derives from their long tradition of building strongholds in the mountains. Yep, that's right. The Highlanders are noticeably larger in dick size. Of late, Highlanders have become increasingly rare sight in Eurasia. Their numbers are represented almost exclusively by those who fled. I don't know how to say that. After its fall, and now work in the desert city-state of Oldura as mercenaries and sellswords. I think this is great. Yeah, we can go with this 100%. Okay. And then appearance. All right, let's look at appearance. Height. Wait. The shortest you can be is 6 feet tall. Damn, bro, this is a Chad race, man. This is 100% the Chad race. Yeah, this is great. Alright, 6'5". I like that. That's good. Muscle tone. Let's talk about the muscles. This is smooth skin or chiseled. We're gonna go 90 chisel. This guy is gonna be so fucking ripped. He knows what to do. He's got a small clothes. Wait, what's small clothes? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, bro, that guy looks like a loser, man. Alright, we're gonna go, yeah. Let's go 90. Alright, instead of this Bro, like, can you actually do this in the game? You're really gonna give him bangs and a ponytail. There's just some other random shit. There's, I don't even, okay, alright, so we've got all these. It's between this one right here and this one right here. I think this hair, this is exactly, this is pretty much like what my hair looks like. Look. Look. It's literally the same fucking thing. Wait, what's this? Wait, how are you guys capping? It's literally true. Now, hair color. Honestly, I feel like this looks good. Yeah, I think actually a darker color brown would look good. Isn't the hair make sense for me, right? Alright, highlights. Wait, highlights. Wait, oh shit, that's like if your hair is going gray. You know, with a little bit of gray. Yeah, actually that looks badass. Like straight up, we're gonna go with that. Okay, so let's see here. Change the fourth environment. Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah, this is what it's all about. Alright, face. What the? Well, it's not even a question. The other ones are so dumb, dude. Like, look at this. Look at that, dude. It looks like he's like a fucking... He's like the French antagonist of a movie from 50 years ago. Well, I don't even know what this is. Alright, let's go to the other ones. Eye shape. I have big eyes, so we're just gonna go with that. That's fine. Eye color. Okay, brown eyes. Alright. Okay, and now we'll go with eyebrows. Okay, this is very important. I think one is better because like 4 it just looks like it's like this. Like that's not how I look, man. Alright, let me just look at nose. Okay, I think I definitely have a smaller nose, so we're gonna go with a smaller nose for sure. Okay, mouth. Where's always open? Oh, they don't have that one. Okay, so we'll just go with number 1 then. Facial features.
Oh, my back.
Oh shit, okay. Oh damn. Wait, look at my, what the fuck? Wait, what's this about? What? Oh my god, alright, yo. This is some, alright, we're putting that back on. Yeah, y'all never gonna see that. That's some weird ass, looks like a clown, dude. Yeah, it looks like an idiot. This guy looks fucking badass. No tattoos? I feel like no, yeah, like I don't have tattoos, not gonna happen. Alright, face paint. Okay, oh, this is gonna be badass. Okay, let's go with face paint. What the fuck? Okay, alright, we gotta see if there's anything cool here. Wait, what are those? Wait, did I make those eyebrows? Nah, bro, that looks like, bro, we used to have like these girls at my school that would put on their eyebrows with Sharpies, man. This is exactly what it looks like. Actually, yeah, that actually looks good. What the fuck? Okay. And voice, let's see what the voice is. I think 4 is good. That's dumb. That's dumb. Nine is good. Alright. We're gonna go with 4. Alright, we're going with 4. Everything's good. We're totally ready to go. Gentlemen, I think we have a character. Alright. It is saved. Wait. I have to have his birthday? Who cares when his birthday is? First ask it's for RP? Okay, well I'm gonna be, I'll just pretend like it's a porn site. I'm born on January 1st. Okay, first son of the first astral moon. Okay, yeah, it sounds great. Let's go with that. Okay. Your character's patron deity. Halion Mover of Glaciers is the goddess of war. She's the element of ice and is associated with the first moon. Mephinia is the keeper of the moon. Where's goddess of love? Oh, what is this bullshit? Ralgar, the breaker of... The breaker Disciples of War. This one's magic. This is for losers, right? Okay, yeah, this is all loser stuff. Let's talk about Gladiator. Alright, Gladiators specialize in handling all manner of one-handed, okay. Pugilist is one of incessant training aimed at mastering additional techniques of hand-to-hand combat. I like that, okay? That's good. Command immortal power when unarmed. Why would I use that? They won't use metal, leather, that's stupid. Marauder. What's this here? Marauder is a combat specialist whose weapon of choice is the great axe. Okay. Alright. Job attire? What is job attire? Oh, wait, what the fuck? Wait, bro, that's from the cinematic. Bro, that's the guy from the cinematic. That's the Stormwind Guard. What the fuck is this? This is already a 5-man dungeon here. This is really, really hard to choose. These are both really good. So, Marauder is a combat specialist whose weapon of choice is the Great Axe, a fearsome armed emblematic of Eurizea's pirates. Their approach to battle is one of brute force, relying on strength and steel to crush enemies and sunder weapons. Sunder armor. I think this might be it. They are highly sought after for their ferocity and intimidating presence, and are often employed to hunt down monsters plaguing the land, or to turn the tide of battle between warring nations. This is fucking badass. Lancer. The strategy of Lancers is to outrange and fluster opponents with their long, two-handed polearms, pepperoni them with a barrage of thrusting attacks. They are trained with a number of weapons, giving diversity to their attacks and making them extremely versatile combatants. In former times, the long spear saw the most widespread use, due in part to its influence of the proud Lancer legions in Alamigo. Oh man, this is really hard to say. Oh, that's so fucking badass. It's so long, man. Oh, it's so long. Oh, dude. Tank is Marauder. Okay, so Marauders are tanks and Lancers are DPS. It's the same. You play Lancer and WoW, tanks do damage here. Tank Q will be faster. Everybody's saying Marauder, dude. Like, let me see what the disciples of... Oh, God, look at that. What an idiot. What a fucking idiot. Okay, yeah, we're gonna probably go with Marauder. Oh, my God. So, let's go with Marauder. I like Marauder. We're gonna stick with that. You've selected, what's Cactar? Oh, this is my server? Okay, select another. Gilgamesh sounds really cool. Adamantoise? Why Adamantoise? Rich explain on that. Gilgamesh is hardcore rating? Well, then I should go on Gilgamesh, dude. Like, Gilgamesh sounds better. Like, we have a guide there? Alright, I'm gonna go on Adamantoise then. Warning. Okay. Can I change this later on? Yes, okay. Let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, let's return. Alright, we're gonna have to change to another world. Let's go to Cactar. Okay, guys, here we go. Gentlemen, it's been a long time. As I said before, I only intend to play through the game as much as I can and enjoy it for as much as I possibly can. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Now loading. Okay, guys. Okay. Alright. Guys, log out. Please log out so I can get in the game. These people. Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. Yeah, thank you guys. Dodge them all. Okay, very funny. Yeah, thank you guys for all the gifted subs in the Twitch Primes. Thank you, everybody. I would say how many that's been, but I genuinely do not even know because, like, all my shit's frozen. Alright, alright. Yeah, I'm alright. What is this?
Oh, great.
What is this? Press enter. Don't like seasickness. Now that I look at you, I'll be in the aether then, I reckon. Okay? Some are more sensitive to stuff than others. The Nature Farm Brand now is just chock full of aether eggs. No need to fret though, you'll soon get used to it. Might as well have been brewing seasickness, ships leaking around like a demented chocobo today. What the fuck? I might head out on deck, get myself a brush of fresh air. Misa is a fair way off, in case you were wondering. Seeing as you're awake and all, how about you keep me company? Wait, what is going on? This is the first cinematic? And they're already doing this? These young men don't care much for conversation. Yeah, they're stupid little elves. Fuck them, who cares? Anywhere Brennan's a name, Padawans mean trade. So he's a paddler. That's great. Oh wait, was this me in the game? Holy shit. So I'm sailing on a ship. That's cool. So we're going over to like Larissa some shit. That salty sea breeze. Now lad, judging by your usual garments, I guess you're one of the new adventurers. That's right, I sure am. Going wherever the wind blows, seeking fortune and glory. Now that's what I call living. True, very true. As long as you can avoid dying. I remember never thinking adventuring is a risky business. I don't die. It's okay, man. It's fine. What was it first that attracted you to it? To win glory. Okay, glory. You're willing to take on tasks other folks can't, and adventurers such as yourself can win fame, and what coin can't buy. When you arrive in town, you want to report to the Adventurers Guild. Okay, so I have to go to the Adventurers Guild. You can find out everything you need to know about adventuring business there. Just remember, though, there are more important things than fortune and glory, such as breathing. Ain't no profit being dead, and that's a fact. That's not true, because you can be a deaf man. That's totally okay. Also, for my editors, you guys who are watching this, whenever you put this on YouTube, just like black this out. Yeah, black this out entirely. Wait, this is the same as Exile's Reach. Wait, it's the exact same thing. Ships on the starboat, pirate colors. Oh shit! No, this is good. We have to fight the pirates. Let's go. Okay, bloody hell. Fuck yeah, dude. Let's do it. Well, we're gonna be okay. Get below, yeah. No, I want to fight. Fuck this. Let's fight. Let's go to work. Okay, wait. Is this gameplay? No. Okay. Another cinematic. Little elves are in there too. What's this where we're coming from? Pirates firing on a ship, flying Elysian colors. Faster would either have a bow with the balls or bugger all for brains. Okay, Pirate Hulk, what do we have to do? Rest easy, we've made it out of cannon range. Wait, that was easy. We already beat him? Damn, bro, that was a joke. That was so easy. That was bleeding close. I'm glad one of us kept his head on his shoulders. I reckon I'd lost mine otherwise. If then pirates give up the chase, we'll be close to port. Let's head up on deck and we'll have a look. They're playing music. I bet it's gameplay. Oh, no, not yet. Alright. So we're sailing on the sea. Okay. Is this your first trip to Lamasa? Yeah, it is. Let's get this journey in and tell you the in and outs of your destination. Lamasa prides itself on being Arisia's foremost naval power. Weren't long ago the place was ruled by pirates, but thanks to the current admiral's civilian influence, the city-state could almost pass for a respectable nation. You'd almost never guess that she was once a rum-swilling buccaneer herself. Damn! Damn, she used to be a savage, okay. Most bold and quick to change, with a town full of liberty-loving ruffians. You can imagine how many naysayers and troublemakers she's got to deal with. Wait, this is like America. Wait, I'm sailing to America. This is badass. All right, let's go. Now we're backed up. Our decision, raiding the coast just as bold as you please. Sequel and beastmen, the locals call fishbacks. Oh, do I have to kill them? That's good. At long last, land ho. Isn't that just called a compass? Let's see the city.
On the windswept isle, in the southwestern corner of the realm. Amidst the whirling waves of the autumn sea, lies the maritime city-state, Windsor Romance.
Damn. There it is. Okay. Wow.
To this haven for bandits and brigands, cutthroats and curs, seekers of both freedom and fortune, comes a lone adventurer.
This is America. All right. I love it. Fuck yeah, dude.
Lone yet not alone, for the hero's arrival has drawn the gaze of the nation's patron deity, Lim Lane.
I'm the hero, by the way. That's me. Just in case anybody was confused.
What realm-shaking fate has she descried in the churning waters of this mortal's future?
Okay. Now what? Oh, there's a cat girl. That's great. Damn, dude. I look like a badass. You're a hero. You're a hero. Everyone's a hero. Well, yeah, everybody's a hero, but especially me. This is where we part ways, son. Wait, son? Often markets and delivery wares. It's on the high road for me. I want you to have this. Oh, you're gonna give me the cat girl? Thanks for saving my arse earlier. What did I get? Never tell me your name. Well, here's an idea. Become part of the story personage I can brag about and haven't met, and I'll consider us square. Okay. Cool. Alright, now what?
Through peril and hardship, discovery and triumph, they navigate the guide this brave soul on the life's voyage.
That's true.
Till sea swallows all.
Okay. So I've just arrived at this massive, like, random-ass city. Final Fantasy XIV. There it is. Okay. Now what? Okay, now this is gonna show me the whole city. Oh, there's the guy from the thing, right? Or is it just a different guy that looks the exact same? Damn. Bro, I was awesome. Did everybody land on the same place, or is it different for each race? I'm assuming it's probably, like, different, right? Bro, I look so cool, man. Yellow jacket infantry, man. Yo, that's a blast. Oh, that's even worse than a wasp. This is my district. I make it my business to know all the scum that washes up in it. Oh, okay, so, alright, this is my first tour. Let's go. Yeah, fuck him. Well, is it the... Yeah, I'm right off the boat. That's right. Well, I want to Lisa Lamassa's finest to set you on the right path. Hop to it, lad. I haven't gone all day. Man, shut up, bitch. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. Oh. Basic controls. Alright, turn to character, and then I move with my right. Okay, this is simple. Alright, good. And jump. Oh, I can jump. Okay. Alright, can I jump off here? Oh, I can't kill myself. Okay, oh, okay, I just got myself off. Okay, good. Turn character. Okay. Does slash dance work in the same way? Wow, that's great. Okay, I'm ready for river dance, guys. We're totally good to go. Asmon Gold Ball. So begins the adventure of Asmongold Ball. Let's go. What, off it? Initiating quest. Once you've initiated the quest, the prompt will appear detailing its objectives and rewards. Click on the accept button in the lower left to add the quest to your list of current duties. Recognize an adventurer, you must first register yourself with the Adventurer's Guild, okay? Now what? Now that I'm here, itching to explore, the adventurers are required to register Okay, got it. Go over to the adventure field. Got it. It's not far. Just head straight down the street and speak with this guy. Okay, we'll show you how it works. We'll take you to the platform we call the Crow's Lift, and it'll take you up to the pub. Once you're there, look for a fellow by the name of Baderon. He's the proprietor of the Winch. You might curse like an ale-added sailor, but the man's got a soft spot for wide-eyed newcomers like yourself. Okay, let's go. Quest. Oh, shit. Bro, they make a big deal out of this. Okay. The jumping feels good. Okay, this is fine. Can I jump on? Like, what can I jump on? I'm trying to see what I can jump on so far. What are my attacks? Heavy swing. Alright, so we're let's do the quest. Alright, let's go ahead and take the Crow's Lift. Let's do it. Oh, that was alright, great. We got lifted right the fuck up. Oh, it's my mini-map. Okay, there's Balderon. Who's this guy? What do I have to do here? Don't use Legacy. Oh, I'm fine, dude. Hey, everything's fine. Everything's okay. Press M to open up bigger map. I'll look at it later. Greetings to ye lad. What if be in for a drink? Try adventuring. I'm not even gonna try to read the pirate shit, man. I'm not gonna do it. Name's Balderon. Venturers have a knack for finding trouble. True. Very true. Not what they need at this part. See, kind of they're being in trouble wherever ye look. It's wherever ye look. Bro, I feel like I'm talking to Magni again. If ye manage to steer clear, oh, fishbacks and the kobolds out the... Oh, shit. Thank you, everybody.
And the Korea team is here to review results.
결과가 좋아 보이네요. 감사합니다.
Great. Glad to hear it. Let's talk next steps. I'll coordinate with the team.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Outdoors Podcast YouTube page. You can do me a quick favor. See that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I
Being followed by Poo Poo.
appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Going into some Portal news and notes in a minute. Before we do, a couple quick reminders. One, I will be on the ground in San Antonio Wednesday night. I don't know if we'll get you very much content on Wednesday. Big travel day for me, for producer Matt, etc. Thursday will be immediate availability. Friday will be immediate availability. And like I said, it feels like Thursday, Friday will start to look ahead to the 2 games remaining. But only 4 teams left. But you know what that means? It means that it is Portal season for literally everybody else. And Monday just felt like the day where things just went bananas. Big names. Commitments are starting to roll in. What I want to do is tell you everything that has happened Monday into Tuesday. It's Tuesday about 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Eastern time. This stuff is always subject to change. We're doing our best to keep you updated as much as we can in real time. So don't get mad at me if a commitment happens, if a decommitment happens, whatever. Well, let's get into everything that you've missed here over the last couple days. The first story, the big story. This is one we have been keeping our eye on for a while now, and I'll be blunt. So has every program in major college basketball. I think I actually hinted at this at one of my shows, but I will argue that maybe the best player that we will see all offseason to enter the transfer portal did officially go in the portal on Monday. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see him on the screen. Yaxel Lendenberg, forward UAB. Okay, and so we've mentioned, we did all those kind of off-season recaps. We talked about what teams need, and I think I've kind of mentioned in passing, like, yeah, they could use a guy like Yaxel Lendenberg. Well, let me tell you this. First of all, let me say this. I'm not accusing anyone of tampering, but what I can tell you is basically every major college basketball program in America has been keeping one eye on this kid basically all season long. This was a kid I think a lot of people thought was going to enter the portal last season. This season he comes back to UAB, basically plays at an All-American level. And I mean, I can tell you, I'm certainly not going
going to tell you the school, but I remember talking to schools in like late January, early February that basically had the day Yaxel Lendenberg entered the portal, basically like that was Christmas Day for them, and it became official on Monday. First of all, if you're watching this, you know who he is, but played at UAB, forward, NBA potential, has declared for the NBA draft, but really does a little bit of everything. 6'8", 6'9", can handle, can pass, can shoot, can dribble, tough in the paint. I mean, the stats kind of bear it out, right? 18 points per game, 11 rebounds per game. As you can see on the screen, he averaged a double-double. Also averaged 4 assists, nearly 2 blocks, 2 steals, and oh, by the way, 35% shooting from 3. You know, to me, he reminds me a little bit of Obi Toppin when Obi Toppin was a big, and just kind of that big forward that can do it all. But like I said, he is being pursued by just about everybody and will be pursued by just about everybody. First off, I've had like 7 different fan bases that, oh, we're getting Yaxel. He's our guy. But I will tell you a couple things. One, just be ready to pay up. Listen, this is the NIL world. I'm not here to debate whether it's good, bad, whatever. But I would suspect that if he returns to college, he is going to be amongst the highest paid players in college basketball this year. So first of all, you get 2, I think the thing that stands out to me is I think a lot of places view him as a potential missing piece on a national championship team. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere crazy off the radar, but instead I think it's going to be all of the big schools that you expect. I think it's a little early to start projecting who's going to get him, who's this, who's that. Again, always subject to change. Maybe I'm dead wrong. But by the end of this video, he's already committed. Both schools that have reached out. It's a loaded list. I know that Kentucky was on there. I know that Kansas was on there. I know that Memphis was on there. I know that Arkansas was on there. I know that BYU was on there. And you just do the math on what those teams need. Kansas, they will have a top 3 pick at point guard in Darren Peterson and needs dudes with him to play with him next year. We're going to get to why in a minute because they don't have very many players left. Kentucky obviously would be a key piece at a key spot for them at the 4 spot. BYU, DeBonsa, Richie Saunders, maybe Yegor Devin. You add this kid in, that might be the preseason #1 team in the country. We know Arkansas needs more talent in the paint. So I could go on and on, but this is going to be probably the most marquee player, a team that, a guy that, like I said, everybody has had on their radar, and it is going to be fascinating following his recruitment. Again, I think this is a guy that is going to be as coveted as anybody in college basketball. Let's keep it going. Other big names from Monday. You know, listen, this was another one. We talked on Sunday night show about R.J. Lewis. 24 hours early, you started to hear rumors that he might hit the portal. Well, it was the same with Henry Visar, center from Arizona, okay? You started to hear, I think, Sunday into early Monday that this might happen. It does happen. He officially hits the portal midday. He does enter with a do not contact tag, but 7-footer, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks per game, and again, about a 33% three-point shooter, okay? So bottom line, first of all, Arizona fans are frustrated. They're devastated. By the way, it's not only mid-major programs that lose guys that they want to keep. I mean, Arizona, this guy, listen, he wasn't technically a starter, but he really, I thought he was one of the keys to Arizona's entire season. Priebus is the starting center to open the year. He goes down early. It allows Visar to step in, and I thought he played about as well as any big that you could, that basically any big in the Big 12. Everybody's a little bit different, but you talk about a guy that could stretch the floor, 7 feet, in the paint, could do some stuff. And so for Arizona to lose him, again, I know the fan base is frustrated, but I also know that he becomes now as coveted as any big man in the portal. It's interesting. Sam Vecini, who covers the NBA draft for the Athletics, basically said, like, look, you just don't see NBA caliber 7-footers entering the portal. And so the fact that this kid has decided to enter, he becomes instantly very highly coveted and one of the most highly anticipated commitments that we could get here down the stretch. Interesting and worth noting. Did enter with a do not contact tag. Listen, I think that's a little bit overrated. You know, sometimes the do not contact tag just means, hey, go through my agent, don't blow up my phone. But sometimes the do not contact tag does mean, oh, I kind of have an idea of where I'm going. I think the only school that has been tied to Henry Visar is North Carolina, UNC. They obviously need size down low. They obviously have money to spend if they raise money, new GM, etc. But this is a kid. Listen, I think he could be like all conference in any type of league next year. I'm gonna finally put out my first portal rankings here in a couple surprised, but this is a big one, literally and figuratively. Daimara from UCLA. Okay, so fascinating story. I'm sorry I get so fired up about this stuff, but I love a good story. I love a good narrative. And Daimara is right up there. If you remember, 2 off seasons ago, UCLA is struggling to kind of fill their roster. They don't have the money in NIL. So they go overseas to these high-level, big-name, NBA draft caliber Europeans. Most of them don't work out. Daimara, as a freshman, really doesn't play. This year, still kind of doesn't play, but when he came over, this was a guy that people were talking about as a potential top 10 pick in 2024 NBA draft. Doesn't play again as a freshman. And then this year, I'll tell you this. As a sophomore, I live in LA. I promise you there was a lot of frustration with Nick Cronin about the fact that this kid was not playing. I remember being at the UCLA Gonzaga game in Inglewood, and I had Spanish. So let me be clear. This kid's from Spain, okay? So if I didn't make that clear, I apologize. He comes from Europe. He comes from Spain. I had Spanish basketball pages tweeting at me, Aaron, do you know anything? Why is this kid not playing? 7'2", elite rim protector, and even if he needs a little bit of work, listen, I understand Nick Cronin's got to run that program to the best of his abilities. I understand that Nick Cronin isn't always going to believe in young guys. He's going to trust the older veteran guys. But it was a major point of contention that this kid did not get more playing time. And the thing was, when he did get playing time late in the season, you could see the impact that he had. In UCLA's first-round NCAA tournament win, in 20 minutes of play, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 5 blocks against Utah State. A game against Wisconsin earlier in the year. How about this? 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks against Wisconsin in 21 minutes.
Oh, man.
12 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks against USC and Eric Musselman's squad. So I just go on and on down the list to say this kid has tools that you simply can't teach. And I am here to tell you, UCLA fans were frustrated that this kid did not get more playing time. Bottom line, maybe there's a list out there that I'm not aware of. I can't even begin to speculate where this kid will end up. But again, he's another one. Just name the school, name the price. He is going to go down as one of the most high-profile players in the portal and also one of the most high-profile names in the portal. Again, if this kid clicks, we're talking about maybe National Defensive Player of the Year. We're talking about All-American. We're talking about top 20 pick in the NBA draft. Okay, and so I bring it up because it's going to be fascinating to watch the recruitment. I think he needs the right fit, but he's in the portal. I cannot believe. It's not that I can't believe that he ended up in the portal, but I'm just here to tell you, UCLA fans are very frustrated without Nick Quinn. Really quickly, because I'm already going long in true tourist fashion, Kansas. Certainly an interesting week in Kansas because on Saturday they lose Floyd Badunga. We talked about them on the Sunday show. And then Monday, the floodgates open. Rylan Griffin, Marquise Passmore, David Coit, 3 more players enter the portal. That's on top of Floyd Badunga. That's on top of Hunter Dickinson, DeJuan Harris Jr., KJ Adams, Zeke Mayo, all graduating. So again, always subject to change. But pretty much right now, Kansas' entire team, as best I can tell, it's Derek Peterson, number 2, number 1, number 3 prospect in America, McDonald's All-American. AJ Spiller, that's really
What do you know?
They don't know that much else, I'll just be perfectly honest. So, fascinating situation in Kansas. Listen, Bill Self is going to recover. But I will say, this does not help the argument that Bill Self has not really figured out this NIL portal era. He's a guy that generally has made it work, has been able to keep guys in his program and develop them. Now it just feels like a turnstile. Listen, I put out this tweet on Tuesday afternoon. It wasn't a shot at Bill Self. It wasn't even necessarily about Bill Self. But we focus so much on all these players having the ability to transfer anytime they want. I think it's hurt some coaches, too. I think coaches move off players way too fast, way too quickly, way too soon, and it results in a situation where a guy that maybe they would have, quote-unquote, had to keep 3 or 4 years ago that develops into a player, now they just kick him into the portal. They try to bring in somebody they think that's going to be better, and it doesn't work out. Riley Griffin, by the way, had averaged 11 points on Alabama's Final Four team 2 years ago. Decides to go to Kansas, it doesn't work out. David Coit was a 20-point-per-game scorer at the mid-major level. Decides to go to Kansas, it doesn't work out. So we'll see what happens with all 3. The only thing I will say, there's some early buzz. Could Rylan Griffin potentially go go back to Alabama. I checked in on that. I don't think it's crazy. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I don't think it's crazy. Riley Griffin's probably the biggest name of the three. But overall, as I said, Kansas losing, I believe, 4 players graduated. This is now 4 players in the portal, maybe more than I missed. Not a great look for Kansas as they try to build a team around Aaron Peterson. They'll figure out a way to get talent in that program, but it's certainly a summer of crossroads for Bill Self. By the way, I'll say this. I don't think Bill Self's on the hot seat. I don't think he's getting fired. But you just start to wonder if this doesn't work this year, how many more offseasons is going to keep kicking the tires before, you know, just kind of standing up. Let's keep it going. A couple other kind of news and notes elements. I'll say this. Increasingly, it's feeling like Lagoon Glass, a lot of buzz that he could commit to Kentucky. Now, by the time he was sprinkled, this was a player that entered the portal the first day the portal was open. So we're talking about on Monday, a week ago Monday. You see how quickly the portal stuff is moving. And I just bring it up to say, by the time you see this, he may have committed to Kentucky, he may have committed to somewhere else. And, you know, Michigan has been in the mix. A lot of schools have been in the mix. I'm not ready to say that Kentucky. I did that with Donovan Dent. I got burned, but it does feel like they're in a good position. I thought it was interesting. Shout out to my buddy Ryan Lemon from JSR. You know, Ryan Lemon is the kind of guy they call him Scoop Lemon. He doesn't put out a lot of quote-unquote insider information. But what he does is usually pretty much on point. So we'll see what happens with the Goon Guad. We talked about him. He was both the Mountain West, not only the conference defensive player of the year, but also the Mountain West freshman of the year. And kind of just an interesting situation because kind of has to go to the portal. You know, San Diego State doesn't have the money that some of these power conference schools do. He decides to enter the portal, and you can see his value. 8.5 points, 5 rebounds. Oh, by the way, 2.5 blocks per game. He, an elite defensive player. I think the other thing worth noting with him, you're going to get multiple years of college basketball out of him. And so Lagoon Glad, it feels as though seems to be a little bit of a Kentucky lean. By the way, I'm also, just trying to monitor Twitter as much as I can while I'm doing this to make sure nothing's breaking. Literally, while we are on air, we just to actually get it, and then we can have it for the commitment segment. But let's keep it going from the for the last little rumor. Well, maybe one more that we get to after this. But you see him on the screen, Morez Johnson Jr. So this kid I like. Illinois, played in Illinois as a freshman. He's from Illinois. And listen, it's so funny, you know, Illinois recruited a lot of big-time players, added a lot of big-time portal players. They had Kasper Siakashonis out of overseas a year ago. Morez Johnson was just quietly awesome every time that I watched Illinois play. And I think Illinois fans, kind of like what I said with Adamara, a little bit frustrated maybe that he didn't get some more playing time. Only averaged, quote-unquote, 7.7 rebounds, but only played 17 minutes a game. You extrapolate that out, that's a double-double easily if you're playing 25, 28, 30 minutes a game. So it was a big game, 17-5 against, obviously, the Big Ten tournament champs, Big Ten regular season champs, Michigan State. Also on top of it, 20-11 in a game earlier this year. And you can just tell by the teams that are recruiting him how much interest there is in him. He just announced the Final Six through John Rothstein, Arkansas, Kentucky, Kansas, Tennessee. Let's see if I can do it all off the top of my head. Kansas, Tennessee, Ohio State. I'm missing one. Okay, Michigan. Okay, Kentucky, Kansas, Arkansas, Michigan, Ohio State, and Tennessee. To me, again, we know Kentucky needs bigs. I don't know that this is the one for Kentucky. Arkansas, I know very desperately wants him. They want some size in the middle. We'll get to why in a second. Also, would not shock me if Michigan's going to need to replace 2 7-footers in Black Golden. And also, Danny Wolf probably will go pro as well. So, Morez Johnson, keep an eye on those schools. Don't let the stats fool you. He is going to be coveted. Again, I will put out my portal list here in the coming days, but he's like a top 10, top 12 player.
Oh, man, allergy sucks.
And the Korea team is here to review results.
결과가 좋아 보이네요. 감사합니다.
Great. Glad to hear it. Let's talk next steps. I'll coordinate with the team.
You can save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Whoa! Very funny John's finally has new toast sandwiches. They're here and they're hot. Try one today.
You robbed the bank and you didn't get away with it. This is the most incriminating set of information against the manager I have ever seen.
Oh, God. How do I live? How am I supposed to live?
Are you that much of a idiot, Scott?
A few days ago, I had a company come in here called eConnect. It's a video system that taps into the cash register, and it shows everything that every person does in this room. And when I looked at the tapes, I saw one of two things. I either saw them stealing,
You know what?
or I saw such a lack of accounting controls
Ridiculous.
that it's disrespectful to you.
I don't steal. I don't. Really?
I hope you're not talking about me right now. I'll talk about whoever the hell I want to talk about. And if you don't like it, just sit there and be quiet or leave. I have never stolen anything. Watch this, Justin. He goes up to the cash register, rings up no sale, puts money in a drawer, counts out change, takes change out, gives it to the customers, and any money that they put in the drawer that they didn't bring winds up in their pocket. That's the way bartenders steal. Now, this is the most blatant bartender theft I have ever seen. Your daughter.
You can talk and talk and talk. I don't steal.
I got it on video.
Really?
Watch this. Drawer opens, no sale, money right in their pocket, and walk away. Either you guys know exactly what you're doing and you're stealing, or you're so ignorant and you have no systems to protect his money.
That is bull. Stealing because I put my tips in the drawer?
You want no sale, and then at the end of the night, I have a videotape of him counting out over $300 and putting it in his pocket. Don't put me.
I put all of my tips in the drawer. I put no sale.
I know.
And I'm not.
We don't steal.
I keep everything in my room.
I've been doing this a long time. I have never seen tips kept in the cash drawer with the bar's money. So there's no accountability. They ring no sale, they put tip money in. They take tip money out, they put bar money in. They take bar money out. They put the bar money on the tip table, the tip goes in the bar. This is unbelievable. If you don't know what the dollars should be, how the hell can you figure out if they're there? I have never seen a tip come to the cash register. And here's the reason why. Here's the way bartenders steal. Let's say I sell you $20 worth of drinks. I give you $20, I go to the register, I get no sale, put the 20 in the drawer now owes me $20, doesn't it? Now there's money in the drawer that's unaccounted for. At the end of the night, they take that money out and put it in their pocket. That's why a no-sale ring is a red flag. So, in my business, there's 3 things you're not allowed to do. Somebody asks for change and you have to do a no-sale ring, then you do it. But in a normal bar, never do you see more than 1 or 2 no-sale rings a night, because there's no reason for it. 2, never is the drawer kept open. It has to be closed every transaction, so you gotta put in a number to open it again, right? 3, there can never be a tip cup to cash register transaction. It's the ultimate, single most frequent way that bartenders steal. This family has no accounting systems. When I see what's going on here with the commingling between tips and cash register funds, it's either theft or incredibly foolish. You guys own.
Oh, man.
You know what they say? Very safe.
Your turn. Choose a dinner. Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the most notable movies that were totally ruined thanks to their unnecessarily bleak and dour endings. A major spoiler warning is in effect.
I can't decide what's worse.
stealing my story or ruining my ending?
Number 30, Man of Steel. Zack Snyder loves him some dark superhero movies. And while that worked for something like Watchmen, in which the source material is inherently moody, it didn't quite work for Superman. In the very controversial ending to this reboot, Superman kills Zod as he attacks an innocent family in the police station. The decision to have the iconic hero commit murder was highly divisive, especially among diehard fans and those involved with the comics. It was a big creative swing, and we have to commend that, but many felt that the overt violence betrayed the tone and character of Superman.
No matter how violent or how cruel, it's for the greater good.
Number 29, Knowing.
All we can say is most movies all getting any kind of underground film.
An apocalyptic thriller starring Nicolas Cage, Knowing follows John Kessler, an astrophysics professor who learns that a massive solar flare is primed to hit Earth. Well, that's exactly what happens. This is one of those rare disaster movies in which the entire world ends, as the planet is slammed by the solar flare and everyone dies. Well, everyone except a number of children who are taken away by alien creatures and brought to an Eden-like planet, supposedly to save the human race. But this only raises more questions, not to mention some dour implications. Just imagine the state of their sanity as they grow up without parents and learn all these truths about Armageddon, alien life, and what seems like forced repopulation.
Where's Caleb?
Caleb's safe.
Number 28, Sunshine.
At the end of time, the moon will go when just one man remains. And the moment will pass.
The sun is failing, and we gotta kickstart that sucker to prevent the apocalypse. What a fascinating subject for a movie. Too bad Sunshine ruined it by randomly turning into a mediocre slasher movie in the third act. The crazed Captain Pinbacker hunts down the crew and kills some of them, supposedly for defying God's plan. He's even covered in horrible burns. Remind you of anyone? It was a weird shift, turning Sunshine from a philosophical space drama into a violent horror flick. It's not a shift that many were expecting or wanting.
The fight.
Number 27, Would You Rather?
But RSVP by 8 o'clock tonight if you do decide to join.
A fun idea for a horror film. Would You Rather follows Iris, a young woman trying to save her brother Raleigh from cancer. She's introduced to Shepard Lambrick, a disturbed philanthropist who offers to pay for Raleigh's treatments if Iris wins a twisted game of Would You Rather. Iris wins, after much blood and depravity of course, and is rewarded with both money and a bone marrow donor for Raleigh. But upon returning home, she finds that her despondent brother has just taken his own life. We know horror movies don't often have happy endings, but this is just needlessly cruel. Number 26, Mother.
What do they want?
I don't know. They've come here to see me.
Darren Aronofsky is a subversive filmmaker, and he certainly proves that with Mother. On the surface, it's about a woman who grows increasingly anxious about the sheer number of guests invading her house. But it's really an allegory about God, Eden, and Mother Earth. And it does not have pleasant things to say about humanity. The guests eventually turn into a ravenous cult devoted to Mother's husband, nearly beating Mother to death and causing her to burn the house down. And that is to say nothing of the horror they inflict on her newborn son. It's all shown in very graphic detail, and it has proven way too much for many viewers.
Can you hear that?
Oh, man.
Number 25, Spring Breakers. Don't let the colorful bikinis and neon lights fool you. Spring Breakers is not a sexy romp. Quite the opposite, in fact. Four girls partying in St. Petersburg meet a drug dealer named Alien and soon fall into his life of crime and hedonism. Faith quickly grows disillusioned and leaves, and Connie later departs after getting injured in a drive-by shooting. But Britt and Candy fall fully into the lifestyle and turn into vicious murderers by shooting up a rival gang and killing its leader in cold blood. Turning heroes into psychotic villains is always a risky proposition, and some are not convinced that Spring Breakers pulled it off.
It was way more than just having a good time. We're different people now. We see things differently.
Number 24, On on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the toast is the bride and bridegroom, Mr. and Mrs. James Bond.
While it's now considered one of the best Bond films, On Her Majesty's Secret Service was met with a muted reception in 1969. Most of this is due to the absence of Sean Connery, who was replaced with newcomer George Lazenby. But many people also found the story too bleak. It depicts Bond in a far more personal and vulnerable light, with the secret agent falling in love with a countess named Tracy. He eventually marries Tracy, but she is killed in a drive-by shooting in the movie's famous ending. Most fans wanted to watch Bond get the girl and kick some butt, not cry over his late wife's bloody corpse.
She's having a rest.
Number 23, Beau is Afraid.
But if you know where you are, then you must also know where you just were and where you just did what you just did, which I saw every second of.
Ari Aster's third major film was highly anticipated and ended up highly divisive. The reasons for this are many, including its tragic and exhausting ending. The titular Beau travels far and wide to attend his mother Mona's funeral, but in a bizarre twist ending, both we and Beau learn that Mona is actually alive. Not only that, but she is horribly abusive towards Beau and reveals that the entire Odyssey was a test. Oh, and his father is a literal monster. He then enters a mock trial for supposedly mistreating his mother, suffering public humiliation and eventually execution. The ending is full of metaphor and allegory, but come on, we endured 3 hours of Beau's misery for this? Talk about a bummer. Number 22, Last Night in Soho.
They send you to heaven.
Edgar Wright made his first foray into horror with Last Night in Soho, a deconstruction of the swinging 60s and all its glitz and glamour. Fashion student Ellie is transported back to the 1960s whenever she sleeps, observing the abused life of a singer named Sandy. As the movie nears its conclusion, we learn that Sandy developed into a serial killer, murdering the men she had been pimped to and hiding their corpses under the floor of her bedsit. She then grew into the elderly Miss Collins, who now rents the place to Ellie. And when Collins confronts Ellie, the latter defends her brutal life of serial murder. The messy twist turns the victims into villains and leaves behind a rather muddled message.
It's not your fault.
Number 2.
You know what they say? Bad day ugly, better than a good day anywhere else.
Come on.
You're on very safe hands.
Number 21, The Butterfly Effect.
Did you remember to bring those home
This movie is essentially 2 hours of unending misery. Ashton Kutcher plays Evan, a young man who tries changing his tragic past by reading a journal and going back in time. But this proved more difficult than it sounds thanks to, you guessed it, the butterfly effect. Unfortunately, there's no winning when it comes to the resolution. The theatrical ending is a happy one, but it doesn't gel with the relentlessly depressing tone of the movie. The director's cut fixes this, but it makes the movie even more depressing by having baby Evan strangle himself in the womb. It's almost comically morbid, and some even find it unintentionally goofy. Number 20, Glass. We so wanted the concluding chapter in M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable trilogy to live up to its crossover potential. And while some of the interactions between the superhuman characters have their moments, fans were largely left scratching their heads following a rather anticlimactic finale.
Classic term. The enemy becomes the ally. Becomes the hero.
Subverting the notion that a superhero movie has to lead up to an epic set piece, Glass instead has its three leads die in unceremonious fashion. Perhaps none more so than David Dunn, who is literally drowned in a puddle of water.
Tell me the truth. Did I almost convince you you were an ordinary man?
47 meters down. The simple setup of divers having to survive a pack of hungry sharks after their cage plummets them to the bottom of the ocean has the makings for a brisk creature feature. But unfortunately, 47 meters down tries to throw in too many narrative curveballs when it matters most. After numerous close calls, it seems like sisters Lisa and Kate have finally made it back to the boat. After a thrilling ascension, it turns out Lisa has been hallucinating and is still at the bottom of the ocean. Not only that, but she realizes Kate has been killed by the sharks a while ago. Just as quickly as it took to explain this, Lisa is rescued by the Coast Guard, making us question this whole narrative back and forth. Number 18, Serenity. No, not the movie adaptation of Firefly. This one is way, way worse.
Pity is worse than a fist in the face.
Before being thrown out the window by a ludicrous twist, Serenity does at least have some atmosphere and intrigue about it. The bulk of the plot sees Matthew McConaughey's fishing boat captain contemplate murdering his ex-wife's cruel new husband Frank. But as the walls of his reality begin to crumble, Baker Dill eventually realizes that he's merely part of a computer simulation created by his son Patrick in the real world.
You see, someone made a world on their computer so they could play games. But his favorite has always been catch the tuna.
Baker going through with killing Frank is the motivation Patrick needs to kill his abusive stepfather in the real world. Patrick is charged with murder, and here's what's asking, what the heck did we just watch? Number 17, Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare is about as convincing as you would expect from a horror movie based on the titular name. But the ending still manages to sink to new lows. The basic premise is this. A group of college kids get roped into playing a supernatural game of Truth or Dare, whereby you have to either tell horrible truths, commit dangerous dares, or die. Because the evil game is twisted, apparently, it leads to their deaths eventually. But players can extend the time between their turns by inviting other players to join.
Carter was the only one who could stop this. So now the game will end and all the players are dead. And your turn's next. Unless you find some new friends to play with.
Rather than roll the dice again,
Oh, man.
ends the movie by uploading a video whereby she
I'm tired, guys.
role to play. This feels edgy for edginess' sake.
I'm so sorry, but I have to ask you. Truth or dare?
Number 16, The Sun. This film, tangentially related to Florian Zeller's previous film, The Father, tackles some very serious issues. However, it's been criticized for doing so through melodrama. At the heart of the story is Peter and his son Nicholas, the latter of whom struggles greatly with depression. Eventually, Nicholas is placed in an inpatient treatment facility for his own safety, and makes an impassioned plea for release towards the end of the film.
I think the parents have heard your arguments, Nicholas. Now I'm going to have to ask you to make a decision. Now?
His parents relent even against Dr. wishes, and as soon as they return home, Nicholas tragically takes his own life. It's far from the most tactful presentation for sensitive viewers, and the final scene where the film briefly tricks us into thinking Nicholas survived doesn't help matters.
Were you thinking about Nicholas?
Should have paid more attention to him.
Number 15, The Entity. This horror film, supposedly based on true events, distinguishes itself by going further than most in the genre would. The trouble is, the ending manages to go too far.
All right, bastard. I've finished running. So do what you want.
After being plagued by a malicious the entity greets her by saying, followed by a weirdly vulgar British slang word. I think you know what it is. It's a decidedly dour downbeat to end on, with the entity's colorful language eliciting little more than confusion.
Oh,
Number
man.
14, the number 23. Now, here's a movie that makes the wrong call at every turn, with its crisp being at the center of it all. Jim Carrey stars as Walter Sparrow, a man who becomes obsessed with a book that may hold the secrets to murder. Wrapped up in this mystery is the number 23, which Walter can't help but see everywhere.
Driving by the book, remember everything. 11, 12, 11 plus 12. It's like it's...
At no point is the film less convincing than the third act, wherein Walter overcomes his amnesia and remembers that he wrote the book and committed the murder. Oh, who wrote the book? The number 23 takes the well-worn trope of an unreliable protagonist and stretches it beyond its limits. If it was less concerned with simply being dark, it might have offered a halfway satisfying solution. Number 13, The Box. The financially desperate Norma and Arthur are presented with an option by a mysterious man. If they press a button, they'll receive $1 million, but a stranger will die.
What did someone's paid?
It's a wrong death row.
What if our neighbors across the street? Do you know?
Rather than lean into the psychological angle of the plot, the movie eventually takes a turn into the realm of science fiction. In the end, the mysterious man reveals his assistants have blinded and deafened their son, and offers them another choice. Keep the money and live with their son's condition, or Arthur can kill Norma and their son's senses will be restored. We get the latter, but we feel like the movie should have taken option C. That is, if option C is anything else.
Walter's upstairs. He said, that is short.
Number 12, The Woman in Black. For what it's worth, The Woman in Black is actually a creepy little haunting film, with plenty of atmosphere to spare. But we're still not sold on the killer ending. Throughout the film, lawyer Arthur Phipps handles an estate that turns out to be haunted by the spirit of a woman who lost her young son. The titular Woman in Black gets her revenge by taking the lives of the children in the nearby village.
She makes us do it. She makes us. They took her boy away. So now she takes us.
Realizing she's going after his son Joseph next, Arthur attempts to save him. However, after Joseph wanders onto train tracks, both he and Arthur are killed.
Daddy, is that crazy?
While Arthur is reunited with his deceased wife in the afterlife, he can't help but wish things had turned out better in the end. Number 11, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. This one is incredibly heavy, so get ready. The film is set in Nazi-occupied Poland and follows the friendship between two boys. Bruno is the son of an SS officer, and Shmuel is a Jewish prisoner at a nearby extermination camp. Did you know that? The boys' ignorance of the real horrors going on reaches a critical point at the end when Bruno is mistaken for a prisoner and rounded up at the rest of them. Bruno, Shmuel, and countless others are tragically executed, and the film ends with Bruno's family utterly devastated. While the film has garnered mixed reactions, detractors of the ending have criticized it for being contrived and sympathizing with Nazis. Either way, it's definitely a gut punch we wish we could forget. Number 10.
Liberty Mutual is all she talks about since we saved hundreds by funding our home and auto insurance.
It's pronounced Liberty. Liberty. Nice try, kid. Only pay what you
Uber Eats is delivering more deals so you can watch more basketball. Right now, get a buy one, get one double stack Mickey bag from Wendy's to get food to watch basketball. And then more food to watch more basketball. Order now, only on
the things you love. Welcome to your Walmart. Why is Chewy America's #1 pet pharmacy? Maybe it's because you can order pet medications right from your phone. Or maybe it's because our licensed pharmacists inspect your pet's medication to ensure it's safe for your pet before it gets delivered to your door. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because you get pet meds at low prices every day. For life with pets, there's Chewy, America's #1 pet pharmacy. 10. Secret window.
The only thing that matters is the ending.
Certain endings are so cliche, their inclusion nearly always detracts from the rest of the story. A tired twist in murder mysteries is revealing the protagonist to be the killer, usually with multiple personalities thrown in for good measure. In Secret Window, Johnny Depp plays Mort, a writer who suffers a mental break after learning about his wife's affair. Throughout the film, Mort is tormented by a person named Shooter, before the third act reveals the two to be one and the same. Number 9, Sucker Punch.
It's me, of course it's me. Assuming it is her.
Zack Snyder's film is a grim psychological drama about abuse that also loves to drop its attractive cast in video games void of consequence. Despite being set in a horrifying mental institute fond of lobotomizing patients, Baby Doll's explosive dream sequences are pure escapism. As a result, Sucker Punch's tone is all over the place. Ultimately, Baby Doll is lobotomized to allow one of the other captives to escape. It's an ending that may have actually worked had Sucker Punch focused more on the psychological storyline rather than constantly stopping dead to show glorified music videos. Number 8, Knock Knock.
Look what I found.
Oh my god.
Starring Keanu Reeves, Knock Knock's married for
Oh, I need to stretch my legs.
of infidelity before the two determined women torture him as punishment for succumbing to temptation. For the most part, Knock Knock plays it relatively straight, but the over-the-top ending jumps right over satire into parody territory, including a no moment capable of making Anakin Skywalker blush. After the protagonist accidentally likes his own assault video on Facebook, the girls gleefully escape to presumably torture another day. At the very least, the movie that inspired Knock Knock had the decency to hit the villains with a truck. Number 7, Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. The 6th entry in the franchise, The Ghost Dimension finally answers a couple of long-standing questions. As it so happens, some things are better left a mystery. Long story short, a cult needs the blood of a girl named Leela to revive a demon called Toby, and the villains succeed while killing the rest of the child's family. Since most entries in the series conclude with a win for the bad guys, the Ghost Dimension's shocking ending happens to be the most predictable outcome possible. Along with an absence of scares, the Ghost Dimension's theatrical ending represents a franchise that never should have been running out of steam. Number 6, The Descent, Part 2. Come on! Following 6 women who enter a cave occupied by cannibalistic humans, 2005's The Descent is a fantastic horror movie with a seemingly happy ending that winds up being the exact opposite. Despite obviously lacking the element of surprise key in making the original film's climax so effective, the sequel could not resist closing with another switcheroo. The Descent's protagonist sacrifices himself to allow another woman to escape the cave. Unfortunately, a rarely seen minor character shows up to ensure nobody survives. It's almost as if the film suddenly remembers it needs a crushing ending and opts for the flimsiest solution possible. Number 5, Remember Me.
I mean, why aren't you...
Ribbit! In the hands of the right director and writer, any subject matter can work. That being said, adapting a real-life tragedy to artificially bloat a story's self-importance is a recipe for disaster. For approximately 95% of its runtime, Remember Me is a meandering drama about pretty people grieving over senseless acts of violence. Then the 9/11 attacks happen while the protagonist is in the World Trade Center. For some reason, Remember Me turns one of America's worst moments into a poorly timed twist ending that no one asked for. Number 4, Splice. Strange, twisted, and often great, Splice sees a pair of scientists fusing human and animal DNA to create a female hybrid called Dren. As Elsa's own DNA is used, the engineer is basically Dren's mother. Meanwhile, the other scientist begins to sleep with the hybrid creature. Following a thoughtful exploration of this unorthodox love triangle, Splice forgoes atmosphere of a truly insane climax. After becoming male, Dren forcibly impregnates Elsa, who opts to keep the baby for money. Anything interesting Splice says about genetic engineering is overshadowed by the overly grotesque third act.
Nobody would blame you if you didn't do this.
Number 3, High Tension. Starting out as a relatively grounded slasher film about Marie, a teenager desperate to protect her friend from a deranged serial killer, High Tension ultimately exposes the protagonist as a psychopath suffering from dissociative identity disorder. Framed as Marie recounting her version of events while in a mental institute, High Tension asks audiences to believe all these violent murders were committed by a petite teenager rather than a brawny guy. Even if the ending's inconsistencies can be waved away as the ravings of an unreliable narrator, this does not mean logic can be thrown out the window. Otherwise, everything prior to the twist is rendered irrelevant. Number 2, The Life of David Gale. Focusing on a philosophy professor sentenced to death after being wrongly convicted of murder and assault, The Life of David Gale's twist ending is hardly to blame for all of the film's problems. That being said, it definitely does not help. In an attempt to discredit capital punishment, David Gale frames himself for the murder of a close personal friend who actually took their own life, with a video of the real death surfacing after the protagonist is executed. Consequently, The Life of David Gale takes the criminal justice system, Kate Winslet's investigative reporter, and audiences on a wild and profoundly ill-advised ride. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Pay It Forward.
That's me. And that's 3 people.
Seeking to make the world a better place, a young boy named Trevor creates a Pay It Forward system where favors are reimbursed by the benefactor, helping out 3 other people. Despite touching upon serious themes, Pay It Forward is an uplifting family drama that highlights the good inside most humans. But the film cannot help delivering one final and unnecessary gut punch. Trevor shockingly dies while defending a friend from a group of mean kids. An ending so out of nowhere and blatantly manipulative, it cheapens the rest of the movie. Did you still enjoy these films despite their controversial endings? Let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
You know what they say? Bad day timing is better than good day anywhere else. You're in very safe hands.
Uber Eats is delivering more deals so you can watch more basketball. Right now, you can get game day deals on everything you crave. To get food, to watch basketball. And then more food, to watch more basketball. Click game day deals in the Uber Eats app and order now.
As spring arrives,
That didn't work.
it's time for warmer days. Spring cleaning isn't done until you call Cook's Pest Control. From keeping the mosquitoes away to protecting against termites, Cook's takes care of it all.
To make a vaccine is to operate on Ellie's brain in both medium. It seems like curing the world would require it.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, that is always incredibly tough when that ball gets caught up in the light and you have to basically
They're at our spawn.
Nico Jordan in the leadoff spot
RBIs over the weekend. 0-2 start. Efficient inning for Ryan Combs so far. Full defense has backed him up. Check swing. Look down. Get check. Tennessee Tech 8 hits in this game. It's just one shy of Tennessee's 9, but Volunteers done a good job. Double plays, pickoffs, outfield assists. It's a good defense.
Definitely the defenses.
Stretch time complete. Here from Knoxville. Tennessee holds on to a 4-run advantage.
Oh, that's good.
4 quick runs in the first 2 innings. They had it on a 5th and the 3rd. 2 2-run home runs from the top 2 guys in the order. It really been the difference at this point. Dean Curley and Blake Grimmer both leading the yard early on in this one. Right, Tennessee Tech, though, they held Tennessee scoreless the last 3 trips up to the plate. 3, 4, 5 due up this inning. Carter Casabella on the mound.
That's right. Tennessee Tech has done a great job the past 3 innings of keeping the Volunteers off the board. Tennessee started off hot, scoring 2 in the first and second, 1 in the third, but since then it has been crickets. There have been some loud outs, but nothing too crazy.
All right, really kicking us off. Counts 1 and 2. Usually 1 for 3. Pull back in the second. Average 3.79 again. A midweek tune-up before both teams are back in conference play starting Friday. Hensley down the line and foul.
And honestly, these midweek games between in-state teams, they're always pretty good games. I mean, Tennessee, the state as a whole, these universities, I mean, they are very competitive baseball programs in this state by itself.
Hensley, push one up the middle, deflection off Casabella. It goes in his favor, able to get him down number 1.
This ball, it's not hit too hard. I think just it's an awkward spot for Casabella, but he does stick with it, gets that first out.
See, back to your point, as here's Tennessee Tech's going to make a change. A quick bullpen move. Casabella gets 1 out. Tennessee Tech's got to work in there, guys. 1 out, bottom of the 7th. No one on for Tennessee. They lead by 4 runs. And Golden Eagles changing hands. Tennessee Tech, 6'7", junior, out on the mound. Actually go head-to-head with Andrew Fisher here. One down in the inning, no one on for Tennessee. The home team leads by 4 runs. First pitch, Fisher is swinging. As he grabs it for strike one. Both the newcomers for Tennessee Tech from Centralia College. Fisher roped down the line and fair. Should be extra bases all the way to the corner in right field. Fisher is in. Stand up double.
That is a big way to start the inning for the Volunteers. Fisher.
So 2 for 2. Now Chris Newstrom, who has taken his spot, is 1 for 1. Fargo had a pair of hard hit line drive singles, and Newstrom a chopper. This one way back. A no-doubter for Chris Newstrom into the party porch. A third homer of the game for Tennessee.
Chris Newstrom absolutely hits a missile. A no-doubter from the start right away. And that'll be 2 more runs on the board for the Volunteers.
Second career home run for the freshman, another native, Chris Newstrom. And a 2 for 2 day. Brings in Andrew Fisher with him as well. 3 2-run home runs, difference maker for Tennessee. They do best 71 team home runs on the year now. And now Reese Chapman back in. He's 1 for 3. Swing kind of woke Tennessee to life a bit. It had been 3 straight scoreless innings offensively.
Yeah, and what's funny is that a lot of their runs have come via the home run. They've had, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that was the third 2-run home run of the game.
Spot on. Difference. 6-run ball game now as Tennessee add on a bit more. Still Lawless will swing with throwing on in 2 outs now. Fresh approach for Garrett Holputt. Lawless looking for his first hit. 0 for 2. He walked. Got on base back in the third. Expect to see Lawless in action over the weekend as well. Good rotation with Cannon Peebles, who will line up here in the midweeks. Likely see him over the weekend. Always important to have a rotation of catchers you can use. Wallace has been the Saturday guy with Marcus Phillips.
Yeah, it's a long season, and you want to make sure that not just that your arms are healthy, but that your catchers are healthy. And sometimes a catcher and a pitcher, they create a special bond, and that's who you want together when they're out there. So Wallace and Phillips is a good example of that. They just probably work really well together.
Chopper to first, easy play for Brable down the line. The two-way player takes the mound. The first pitch, Preston Steele likes. He swings. And cut out to center. Hunter Inslee still there, making plays. never know what you're going to get here from Braden Sharp. And you have the baseball, strike one. To Whitcomb, did he go around? He did. Oh, that's strike two. Whitcomb with the lone RBI in this game. He's 2 for 3, pair of singles. Typically see with two-way players at some point they make a decision. Throw the offense, unless you're a rarity, Jack Caglione.
Yeah, I mean, competing at this high of a level, it is difficult to be able to find time to hone in on both crafts, being able to pitch and then also being able to
Oh,
hit.
man.
And very rarely do you see this level of player be able to do both and be able to excel at both.
So we see Cena with Todd Helm. Again, though, a special player.
Yeah.
That is not possible.
No, it's definitely possible. It just you just again have to put in twice the amount of work. You have to do twice the amount of recovery.
Yep. Staring down the runner at first. Pitch in, it bounces. Did he go around? He did. Strike two. And Ed's standing in, looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 3. So look at first from Sharp. Whitcomb just one stolen base, not too much of a threat. That throw is going to skip away for a moment. Whitcomb stays put. And people might remember star Drew Gilbert back in his freshman year as a two-way player. Made some really quality relief outings back in that 2020 shortened season. One-two of Inez, testing Inslee, he rushes forward, he's got it. Throw back to first just in case. That's the second out.
I think going back to those two-way players, another reason why you don't see that happen often is also because of mental game. You know, a lot of times, are guys able to separate the two? Are they able to focus solely on pitching when they're pitching and hitting when they're hitting, having different mental game strategies for each? It's a lot of work, and in my opinion, pitching is 90% mental and 10% physical, and I think hitting is probably pretty close to that as well.
Almost had him, but Fisher couldn't hold on to the ball there. Looked like it would have had him. Able to barely get back, so finally will stand in. Sharp nearly got out of the frame there. They're in for the DH. Lee is 0 for 2. Lee 321 average. 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. Tennessee Tech now down to their final 4 outs in this one. Check swing. And he went. That's strike 2. catcher able to make that call.
Seen a lot of check swings from these Tennessee Tech batters, just not able to hold up.
Oh, I walked right by him.
Pitch in there, swung on and missed. One strike two. Yeah, one thing, I mean, both these lineups have had to face a new pitcher every single inning.
Yeah, you definitely, it's not like you can,
Settle in.
no, or figure out their tendencies or anything like that.
Lost the bat on the swing. It's strike three. Throw down to first in time. The freshman. And Tennessee takes their last cuts, presumably. It's been good infield work for the freshman. 311 average, 2 home runs, and 9 RBIs his first campaign through.
Again, another freshman just stepping up and playing really big for the Volunteers.
2 hits and 2 RBIs against South Carolina over the weekend. Chase after that fastball out of the zone is Lucas Vega on to throw for Tennessee Tech here this inning. Tennessee has been a full bullpen day. Gold Eagles. Vega's there makes good contact with foul. Vega's 16 strikeouts and 19 innings thrown in the season. This is outing number 10. He's made 3 starts. Senior that gets a lot of work. Aaron flies this one up. Left center, shortstop, lead over to make catch. At number 1, Aaron retired.
That'll be an easy first out for Tennessee Tech. It's going to be important for them in these late innings. Try and score a few more runs.
Again, last moments before another SEC weekend. Vega was in 92. Texas A&M again coming down in need of a win. A team that came into the season with a lot of preseason high bucks who returned a lot of that talent that faced Tennessee in the College World Series final last year. So it's a very talented group, and the feeling is, again, with a team that talented, at some point they're going to figure something out, and they're not going to continue down this stretch of 1-8.
Right, and also, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to be fueling them against this Tennessee team. Not only just wanting a win and also trying to figure things out, but I mean, also the last time they played them, they lost the World Series, they lost the national championship, so they're going to be really hunting this weekend.
1-2, Antigua bounds away. He's looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 2. That's been a nice catch down there. That 1-2 got Antigua swinging. Good start from Vega on the pin for Tennessee Tech. on that one, just got under it. The center field. He start off his homestand with a win. For Bryson Thacker, a lefty, redshirt freshman from Rome, Georgia, his third outing of the year. He one of a couple pitchers we see this inning. You never know.
Right, I wouldn't be surprised if Thacker gets 2 outs and we see someone else come in to close, or even just get 1 out. And see, I haven't even seen him bring in someone for like multiple outs in an inning. So I think that you can see a mix of a lot of different things.
Now tip, strike 2. Thacker pitched a full inning against Queens, his first full inning. Last week he was pitched in the last 3 midweek outings now. Pitched a solid inning, base runners and a strikeout. A strikeout there to start his evening here in the ninth. 1 down in the inning.
Beautiful elevated pitch coming in at 89 for the swing and miss. And even though Tennessee Tech has 8 hits on the night, Tennessee pitching has been extremely effective. 11 strikeouts combined from all the different pitchers that we've seen.
One pitch fouled away. Tennessee Tech just starts their home stretch. They're at Western Illinois starting on Friday. It'll be 2 o'clock Central. First pitch. Second weekend of OVC play. The Golden Eagles. Tennessee and Texas A&M, they'll start Friday night. Actually televised broadcast 7 Eastern, his first pitch. Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Late one.
Dang it.
Tennessee out back. Have that prime time feel. Game. The ballpark. Expect to be big crowds again for a rematch between Tennessee and Texas A&M. 2-2 count. That's in there. Called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Thacker.
Big pitch for Thacker. He is on fire so far. 2 strikeouts in the top of the ninth. And it looks like they're going to let him stay.
Pretty good start. First 2, you're able to sit down. Tennessee now has 12 strikeouts in the staff. Again, it has been a busy day for the Tennessee bullpen, but highlights, you got to see A.J. Russell make his return first time in over a month. Second start of the year, second outing. Illinois made an appearance, worked 2 very efficient outs with 2 strikeouts, and then a whole lot of love for the rest of the bullpen in there. Some work here on the midweeks.
Right, I really loved the performance from Austin Breedlove in that high-pressure situation,
Yep.
bases loaded, and gets all 3 outs by the strikeout.
One of the turning moments of the game. Tennessee Tech left him stranded there, and that bases loaded over half the time running the plate there. Breedlove able to work out of the jam. Base runner for the Golden Eagles. Owen Lee makes the try to first. Up the door for Jackson Green to keep things alive for Tennessee Tech. Visitors down to their final out. Massive cut. First pitch swinging strike. for Green, 2 for 3. He's down to his final strike. Will have to protect. Great midweek crowd at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Always a fun matchup between these two programs. Thacker pitch home. Swung on. It's going to get behind catcher Lawless. And Green's able to turn a strikeout into a base running opportunity.
Sometimes the good stuff is right in front of you. Like the 1.5 times more calcium you get with lactate calcium in mixed milk. So savor every moment and enjoy more of what you love.
Dalton Bargo stays hot. 2 hits for him on the day. Both singles.
Oh, man.
Contacts, getting things started for the Volunteers with his hard hit line drive right back up the middle.
Dalton Bargo early in the season. We've seen a lot of home run or strikeout. But he has really squared things up. We're seeing a lot more line drives.
Yeah, starting to find that consistency. And I mean, home runs are great, but you also need to have those hitters that really just like hit for average and that you know are going to get on base.
Tennessee obviously still has a lot of power in that lineup, but they have a lot of variety compared to other years. A couple of guys who aren't going to have double-digit home runs that'll probably start every day. Guys that you're not afraid to have lay down the ball. Fixing the comp system here. New pitchers on for Tennessee Tech. Nick Vaccaro. 7 outings last year out of the bullpen. This is just outing number 3 this year.
Looks like Tennessee Tech is doing the same thing the Volunteers are doing, trying to get their bullpen a lot of opportunities.
Jammed underneath this one. Out to left center. Nico Jordan gives way for Henson Green.
That didn't work.
Now number 1, Tennessee Tech up next will head to Western Illinois. By Gardner, pitcher covers, 3-1 putout. Just does not swing.
ProQuest's Austin Price joins us every Tuesday morning at 8:20. Basketball season may have just ended, but there is a ton to discuss on Rocky Top. A spring scrimmage for football, transfer portal shopping for hoops. Baseball team still ranked number 1. Lots to get to as Austin joins us here this morning from Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good.
We are good. Austin, out of the scrimmage last night, what is the biggest takeaway? What are you hearing that was significant for the Balls last night in Neyland Stadium?
I don't know if it's significant because it's a spring scrimmage, but the talk out of the scrimmage is, Nico really had a strong night. That was from about 5 or 6 different people that, normally are probably pessimists. And so they talked about just how much more calm and under control and some of the plays he made. Jake Berklinger had a nice night last night. And when you have quarterbacks that are having a couple of nice nights, normally you have receivers that are having a couple of nice nights. And Travis Smith made some plays. The kind of the trio of starters, Brazel, Mike Matthews, and Braylon Staley, all made plays and looked really, really good last night. And so it was a nice night for the offense. And I would expect the defense to rebound a week from last night.
So, Austin, then I think the follow-up question to that is, how much do you think this offensive staff can take away, considering how banged up the secondary is? Is this about wide receivers taking that crucial step they need to take? Or maybe a secondary that doesn't have Jermon McCoy and has a lot of new faces? Or is there a little bit of both going on, in your opinion?
I just MailChimp my marketing.
You mentioned your what?
I MailChimp my marketing with AI to create a hyper-personalized campaign in minutes.
Oh yeah? I MailChimped our way to more revenue using predictive segmentation.
No MailChimping way.
Yes, MailChimping way.
I just MailChimp improved my orders by 7 times using real-time behavior data.
I just added SMS to my multi-channel marketing campaign.
Got 'em.
Mine?
Now my ROIs through the MailChimping roof.
That's pretty cool. But I just MailChimp my sales up so high, my CFO cried.
That's MailChimp-nificent.
It is. It is MailChimp-nificent.
Intuit MailChimp, the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform.
Oh, hey guys, MailChimp to marketing. You bet your MailChimp by this.
Okay, rule number 1. You never saw me like this, even though I still look very cool. You look like a kidney stone. You look like someone who would know what that is. Now. Well, hello, speaking. Okay, I feel like there's some backstory that I need to get caught up on.
Oh.
Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I don't want to get attached if you don't. Which you guys won't. You're not gonna do that. I don't even know why I said that. The point is, there's some serious God stuff going down. I'm gonna go ahead and realize this.
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously, McCoy not out there. I think too. We've talked about it, and I'm certainly championing there's a lot of unknown. And even though, you find out a few things in the scrimmage, you're still not going to know until you get to sit. But the unknown are these receivers that I think are more athletic. I think that position has, it's still a thin position, but they're more athletic than a year ago and more explosive, and there's the chance that they better.
Oh, man.
Nico in year 2 is starter versus year 1. He should be better. You start putting all that together. There's some elevated play throwing the football, right? And then, of course, as you pointed out, Jermon McCoy not out there. Tennessee, working through some things with some younger corners. It's natural for the offense to have a little bit more success right now.
Austin Price joining us this morning on RK Dub. When it comes to more parts of that offense, we speak about just how great of a leader Dylan Sampson was, what he did for this
team in terms of elevating it last year. Where are we at right now with their running backs early on?
Tennessee likes the running back room. Deshaun Bishop just continues to do what he does. He falls forward. He makes plays. I mean, there's nothing ever like, oh my gosh, flashy. But he just makes plays. He just doesn't go in the other direction. Peyton Lewis continues to grow. And then, Sir Thomas is a guy that's got a lot of ability to want more flash last night. So, again, there's a lot of unknown, though. That's going to be the theme at every position is just players that haven't necessarily, maybe they showed a little, but they not showed a lot. Running backs, receivers, you can go right down the offensive line. You can go right down the list of those positions where Tennessee in theory should be better this year. You're not going to know it until you see it. And that's kind of where I think the running back room is. You like what you saw with Deshaun Bishop last year. He was the number 2 to Dylan Sampson. Peyton Lewis flashed, late in the year. But, he was a backup. Now those guys are the 1A, 1B combination. What are they going to be like now that they're the starter and not the guy that comes in and spells a record-setting running back?
There are new additions to the staff, Austin, and clearly they're looking for production at every position. But is there anything you can tell us early on about these new additions and maybe how the fit is so far?
Like just overall?
Yeah.
Well, I think they've all come in, they've done a really nice job. Not only showcasing their ability on the field, but meshing with the rim, right? Like they've done a nice job of being teammates, being leaders, getting, other teammates to go out to dinner, all those type of things. I think Tennessee's done a nice job with, their new players. Whether it's the recruiting class, the transfers, everybody's kind of hit the ground running, Kayla. And I think that's a good sign. Now, obviously not everybody's going to play this year, especially if you're a freshman. But those transfers, you're hoping, that the 2 offensive linemen continue their path, which certainly looks like, a chance to be 2 starters and 2 play-and-play players. And you're hoping Star Thomas continues to showcase his versatility. And we'll see about Amari Jefferson. He's got to get healthy. But certainly if healthy, have some hopes there as well. So, the transfers, they seem like they've done a nice job. I think Tennessee will go to the market for a defensive tackle in the coming weeks. I think they'll, potentially look at a receiver after spring. Just because, I think going into season 7 is really difficult. But, on the whole, I think the new additions have done a nice job.
Quest not surprised our guest this morning, Underbone Caitlin. Will, also, we've gotten used to having these high expectations for freshman wide receivers, and then they don't play major roles except in mop-up duty. For Travis Smith this season, how different could this be for him, considering the lack of depth in that room, or is this business as usual where we're going to build up Travis Smith and then Josh Heupel will build him up, and then when push comes to shove, it's still going to be a rotation of 3, maybe 4 guys?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case because I don't think they can afford that to be the case.
Right.
In the years past, you had 5, 6 guys that were a little bit older than my Matthews or whatever. You don't have that this year. And so, again, Chris Brazzell is your oldest, most experienced player. I don't think anybody would consider Chris Brazzell old or that super experienced. You look at the options 2 and 3 after Brazzell, Mike Matthews, who played sparingly a year ago, Brendan Staley, who didn't play at all until the very end of the season because they were redshirting. Those are your starters right now. Those are your most experienced people. After that, it's straight freshman and a transfer, and Amari Jefferson, who might as well be a freshman because he didn't play last year at Alabama. So I don't think there's really an option. I think barring him going to the portal and adding a couple of guys that changes that, like Travis Smith's going to get action. And right now, Rodarius Jackson, with the way he has performed as well, will get some action. This is going to be a situation where Tennessee, probably, again, will have to go to the portal because they can't go into the season with just 7 guys. I just think that's a recipe for disaster. You're a couple of tweaked ankles away from going wiggle.
Right. Totally.
Walk on, get in there.
Absolutely right. And it's always, it is on the fans. It's not reporters' fault, per se, but Austin, it does feel like in the recruiting stars, you know, hey, 5-star guy, hey, Travis Smith, number 10 receiver in the country, you know, we build these guys up so quickly. I guess really what you're telling us, Austin, is Josh Heupel doesn't really have a chance to choose to adapt his philosophy on that. He's going to kind of be forced to at the receiver position specifically this year.
Yeah, force change. Right, there's force change on the offensive line. There's a force change, and the secondary a year ago, I think it's forced play this year because of just kind of how it stacks up age-wise.
Totally. Well, Austin, shifting gears a bit in the basketball transfer portal, with Tennessee certainly being forced to bring in a lot of guys in the portal with as many openings as they have. Finishing up with Isaac McNeely, the Virginia transfer. How do you feel like Tennessee did with his visit as that one looks to be, Austin, coming down to Tennessee versus Louisville?
Yeah, I think Tennessee's in play there. I think that they're a real option for Isaac. I think Tennessee likes him a lot. Just like they like, Gillespie a lot. In the portal for Maryland. So Tennessee's going to be very, very aggressive. But much like I said with football, with this portal, anything's possible, both good and bad. So, I mean, like, you can see somebody leave Tennessee, and there ain't a whole lot of bodies on the roster because most of them graduate. But you can see Tennessee lose somebody just because,
Well, that sucked.
Robinhood Legend is a free, intuitive trading platform that can help you take your investing to the next level. Trade on your terms with after-hours trading available 5 days a week. With Robinhood Legend, you can quickly build custom layouts and get real-time data updating at sub-second intervals. Click below to learn more about Robinhood Legend.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 1, savings strike. New to finances, learn to master your money with Credit Karma today for a stronger tomorrow. A high-yield savings account from Credit Karma Money can help you smash your savings goals with way more interest than the national average, getting you way closer to your future wheels. Harness the power of Credit Karma today to win your financial future tomorrow.
An age you get to somebody's ear, the amount of money that all these kids are asking for right now is pretty extreme, and you just never know. So you gotta just hang tight and see what happens. And I think Tennessee will be really, really aggressive with they really want to try to add. Obviously, Isaac is a player that Tennessee covets, and they got him in here pretty quick. And you're right, Tennessee versus Louisville. Right now, I would kind of lean Tennessee, but again, in this era, it can all change in a 5-minute span or with one phone call. So, we'll see kind of where things go. But I do think that's to be aggressive, where you're seeing announcements in the next 3-4 days versus 3-4 weeks.
Austin Price, our good friend of all Quest, joined us this morning on RK-Dub, talking a little hoops right now in terms of the balls. And with the loss now of Devin Mayshak and, of course, Zakai Ziegler, I mean, obviously the leadership was such a big part of this team with those two guys. But when it comes to just guard play in general, how hard is it to find a match to a guy like Zakai Ziegler, who stayed in a program as long as he did?
Well, I mean, he's going to be the dinosaur, right? I mean, like the exception is Zakai Ziegler. The rule is they're going to be just 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most years in a program, and the 4-year players are going to be very rare. And replacing him, you're just trying to go get a good point guard. But what he was able to do, I'm not sure you replicate. Now, again, you might not find the dogged defender like Zakai, but you might find an offensive player who's a little bit taller that can do different things than Zakai did. So it's all relative. But for his ability to think the way Rick thinks, to maneuver, to play, to just do all the little intangible things that he did, I'm not sure you replace that but you can replace it in certain ways with a better player. So you're just going to go out and try to find that player. Gillespie certainly could be who's a little more an offensive threat. So Tennessee's, again, I think will be really, really aggressive in the transfer portal over the next few days.
Austin, on the women's side of things for Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols, their season ending in the Sweet 16, and by all accounts, Austin, that was the goal internally for that program and for that team to get back to the Sweet 16. How aggressive do you expect them to be in the transfer? How high
Dang it, quit dying.
For a program that, by many accounts, also has a top 3 or 4 recruiting class in the country at the high school ranks for next season?
I think they'll be really aggressive as well. Obviously, everybody knows that they're trying to look at the girl from Florida State, who's the top scorer in the country. And, Tennessee's also, had Tiana Todd on campus over the last, day or so, a BC transfer. She shoots it well from 3. All those things add up to, trying to be aggressive. When you're trying to get Sanaya Watson from Florida State, you're trying to get Tiana Todd from Boston College, you're trying to make, now again, much like the men, the women, they're, in this era, you have to prepare yourself that somebody can come out of left field on the current roster that's supposed to be back that may decide to leave. But you can just try to hold on, see if you can hold on to the players, that you have, and then adjust. But right now, Tennessee's just trying to build.
Oh, shoot.
Quite a bit back, right? I mean, you have, obviously, Talasia Cooper back, you have Spearman back, Ruby Whitehorn back. They have a nice nucleus coming back, not to mention adding the high school class and adding some of these transfers. So a team that just went to the Sweet 16 could potentially, be in position or to make an even deeper run next year if you can add the right players to this roster.
And Austin, final one for you with Tennessee baseball hosting Texas A&M this weekend. We thought maybe that would be another national title preview. Certainly not the case, as A&M has not held up their end of the bargain so far this season. But what is the latest with A.J. Russell potentially making his return to that Tennessee starting rotation? And just how good are the feelings around the Tennessee program right now that picked up another sweep over the weekend against Palmetary in South Carolina?
Just business as usual. Well, I mean, they just continue to, they win in different ways. They can bludgeon teams. They can get into, kind of high-scoring 10-8 type games. They can win a,
That's right, 10 o'clock.
3-2. They just find ways to win, and they've had the most impressive part of this baseball team is the fact that they replaced almost everybody, right? I mean, pitching staff, all the major hitters, your top 2 home run hitters in your program history, and then when you throw in the fact that Amick had the second greatest home run season, only because Christian Moore, did what he did. He had the second greatest home run season in Tennessee history. I mean, just all that you replaced, and it's like they didn't even replace anybody. It's like they had the same team back from a standpoint of how they mesh, how they click, how they win. I mean, it's pretty wild. The freshmen that have stepped up, and then even some guys like Dalton Margo, who wasn't even a factor in the first SEC series, maybe the last 3 weeks, your most clutch hitter and your hottest hitter, was doing what he's been doing from the DH spot. So it's been really, really impressive.
He is Austin Price of All Quested on 3, who joins us here on Tuesday mornings at 8:20, bringing us the latest out of Knoxville. Good stuff, Austin. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us this morning. A little bit of basketball, football, and baseball. All right, we've got breaking news of the NFL rule changes, including one that many of us are going to absolutely love. That's next.
Man, my allergies are killing me. Oh, man. I got poo-poo. Oh, man. I'm sick, guys.
There's no question they're at the top, if not the favorite for Tristan Keys right now. Got to get around a few of Tennessee's
Oh, where am I going? Oh, man. Oh, man.
Lower Realm, Raid Y, Azura Chakra, Circle AoEs to stand in between to avoid. Cut-in Jewel, Techbuster AoE, use them defensives. Ephemerality, Raid Y damage, boss holograms, each will explode with a small AoE, move in a space away from them. Iconography, boss will do an attack, followed by a similar attack from the larger version of Azura after the subsequent iconic execution cast. Note, you need to position early for the big Azura attack as will land quickly after orange AoE markers appear. Pedestal Purge, chariot AoE under the boss, followed by a large chariot from Big Azura, dodge to the opposite side of the arena to Big Azura. Wheel of Delicarnation, go to AoE under the boss, then move close to Big Azura. Blade-wise, line AoE from boss, then huge line AoE through center from Big Azura. Move to either the left or right arena edge looking at Big Azura. Six-bladed Kadaga. Boss will do 6 half-arena cleaves in succession. It does a front cleave and cleaves on either side. It does not do a back cleave. Limit cut balls will denote the order, but it will always start from front and rotate in succession. Note the 1 and 2 balls to
understand if clockwise or anti-clockwise. Then start on the 3-ball side away from the front, and once the first frontal goes off, move into the front and rotate in the same direction as the AoEs. Many faces. A blue or red face will appear on the screen. Go to the opposite colour side. Myriad aspects. 2 sets of codals. Wait for the first to go off and move into them to avoid the second set. Blade scatter. Rotating line AoEs. Position next to the first and rotate as they go off. Next sets of iconography. Same idea. Boss will do one of the same attacks. Chariot, flame or line, followed by the same subsequent attack by Bigazora. This time, there will be an extra iconic execution cast before Bigazora's attack, which will change the side of the arena she is on, with no tell as to where she's going to move. Position centre until Bigazora moves location. Quickly identify her new location before then moving to the subsequent attack. In centre makes things a lot easier as it makes sure you have the shortest distance to run once she moves. All done. Like and subscribe to complete the duty.
What lies beyond?
At some point in its lifespan, each home video game console will release its last official game. A last call, as it were, telling us in effect, you don't have to go home, but you can't play either. Or can you? You see, some older systems have enjoyed a resurgence over the years, with re-releases or in some cases with brand new ones. And of course, many consoles still enjoy a vibrant homebrew community that are still making games for bygone consoles to this day. In this video, however, we are going to focus on the last officially released game for each console over the years. Now, a small disclaimer here, I may not touch on every single console or region, but if I missed something that you felt should have made the list, please let me know in the comments below. Now, let's get started. First, we're going to hop into DeLorean and go back in time to the very first commercially released home console, the Magnavox Odyssey. This console came with all of the games built into the system itself. These games were very simplistic in nature, containing just a few squares and some lines that moved around the screen. The cartridges themselves were nothing more than glorified punch cards that told the console configuration and behavior the dots and lines were supposed to have. The console's final launch is thought to be Interplanetary Voyage, released in 1973. This game was not available in stores and was part of a promotional campaign with NASA to help promote the Apollo space program. The first console to truly feature interchangeable games on different cartridges was the Fairchild Channel F, released in 1976. The F stands for fun.
So much fun.
So much fun. The last first-party title released for the FCF was Video Whiz Ball in 1979, a competitive and fast-paced two-player game similar to Pong and its many variants. After this release, Fairchild sold the rights to the Channel F to a company named Zircon. They released one final game for the system in 1981, a Space Invaders clone known as Alien Invasion. The next console to invade the home video game scene arrived in 1977 with the Atari 2600, which boasted superior processing and graphical capability. It was also known as the Atari VCS or simply Atari. The system is credited with truly kicking off the home video game scene and would dominate the consumer console market for a number of years. The final gem released for the VCS was Astronaut in 1992, a puzzle game similar to Tetris where players had to match up columns of colored blocks. Or was it? You see, Atari has been revitalizing the brand by, among other things, the release of the Atari 2600 Plus. This console can play all of the original 2600 game cartridges. They recently released 2 new games for the system in 2024 with Mr. Run and Jump and Berserk Enhanced Edition. These cartridges also work on the original Atari Atari 2600s, which means that technically these are the last official releases for the console, at least so far. Intellivision is next on our list and was released 2 years after the Atari in 1979. With its richer graphics, more complex gameplay, and ports of popular arcade titles such as Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, it emerged as the first true challenger to Atari's dominance. Intellivision served up its final game with Striker Super Pro Volleyball in 1989. This game didn't receive a wide release as it was at the end of the console lifespan. If you have an original copy of this game, it could be worth a nice chunk of change due to its rarity. Atari is planning brand in 2023 and is actively exploring the possibility of new games for the Intellivision. So, like the Atari 2600, we may see some new releases for this console in the future. Magnavox streamlined the consoles by releasing the Magnavox Odyssey 2, also in 1979. It was known as the Philips Videopack G7000 in Europe and as the Philips Odyssey in Brazil. While the system had some unique features, it lacked the power of some of its other competitors. It powered through until bowing out in the US with Power Lords in 1983. Europe was the next to go with Helicopter Rescue in 1984. But the last game thought to be released would be Orlando Nocturnal in Brazil. The exact date of release is unknown, but it's thought to have been the mid-1980s, which would make it the last official release for the platform. The next console to be released will be a handheld, the first of its kind. Meet the Milton Bradley Microvision, also released in 1979. It was a very simple handheld console with a black and white LCD screen, but it marked an important milestone in game history nonetheless. The last game for this system was Super Blockbuster in 1982, featuring gameplay very similar to that of the much more popular Breakout. The year the Microvision ended its
Oh, I thought he's dead.
same year we have the next 3 consoles on our list, starting with the ColecoVision. The ColecoVision boasted more impressive graphical capabilities than the Atari 2600. They had Atari so worried, in fact, that Atari would go on to hastily release a poorly received follow-up console, which we'll talk about in just a moment. The last game released for the system was Alcazar, the Forgotten Fortress, a dungeon action-adventure game in 1985. It wasn't. Like the Atari, Coleco has also been trying to revive the brand in recent years. In 2020, they partnered with a company called CollectorVision to release the CollectorVision Themes, a console that can play ColecoVision cartridges. Coleco also released a full-sized arcade cabinet in 2024, preloaded with 40 classic games. 2024 also saw CollectorVision release a game for the ColecoVision called Scramble. Scramble can be played on the original ColecoVision hardware. Now, some may argue that this is a homebrew title and release, but seeing as how they seem to have the rest of Coleco themselves, it's the gray area at worst, but I'd say it counts. And you think that take? Comments below. Next on our list, the Atari 5200. It didn't fare as well as the ColecoVision or the Intellivision and was considered a flop in every sense of the word. With a limited library of games and stories, it was widely considered to be the worst controller of all time. It was finished with a total official library of just 69 games. Not nice. Production of the console ended in 1984, just 2 years after its release. Diehards would still get one final release for the system in 1986 with Gremlins. A scary end for what many consider to be a scary bad system. The next console to be released would come to be credited with single-handedly saving the entire video game industry in the wake of the great video game crash of 1983. That console, of course, was the Nintendo Entertainment System, also known as the NES. The last official release in North America was Warriors Woods in 1995. The fact that it is still getting new releases at a time when there were vastly more powerful consoles on the market speaks to the enduring popularity of this beloved system. For the Famicom, which was the console's name in Japan, the last official release would be Takahashi Neijin no Boken Yuma. Apologies to all of my Japanese viewers right now. This game is also known as Adventure Island.
There we go.
It marks the last official release for the NES/Famicom line of consoles. The Sega Master System launched in North America in 1986 as a direct competitor to the NES. Among other regions, it would also be released 3 years later in Brazil, and that will become important in just a moment. The Master System wasn't nearly as successful as its counterpart at Nintendo, at least in North America, where it would go on to sell just 2 million consoles. The first to bow out was Japan, which released Bomber Raid in 1989 for the Sega Mark III, which is what the Master System is called over there. The Master System would speed off 2 years later in North America with Sonic the Hedgehog in 1991, kicking off a character that would prove to be a beloved mascot for subsequent Sega systems, much like Mario was for Nintendo. What's crazy, however, is that this console enjoyed an insanely long run in Brazil, selling 5 times the amount of consoles that it did in North America. In 1998, 7 years after it stopped producing games for North America, the Master System would finally call it quits with Mickey's Ultimate Challenge. However, this game was a port of the same game release.
Alright, guys, I think I'm going to call it a night.
The last game to be released
I don't really want to wait 10 minutes for this.
was in 1997 with the children's game Sitio do Campo Amarelo. I think I said that right.
Remix 83.
Fights with tornadoes and use mushrooms as trampolines. Atari would stage a comeback of sorts with one of the final consoles of the 8-bit era.
I'll wait a couple minutes.
Atari 7800. It was released in 1986 and was intended to be a competitor of the NES and Sega Master System. Although it sold slightly better than the Master System in North America, with nearly 4 million units, it's still considered a commercial failure due to poor marketing and a lack of quality games. The final game released for this system was Sentinel, an action-packed light gun game. It was released in 1991. A remake of this console, along with a limited library of re-released games, are still available on Atari's website today. I had a hard time placing the next console on our list, the TurboGrafx 16. You see, this system was marketed as the first 16-bit console, but that claim is somewhat misleading. While it did have a 16-bit graphics processor, it still had an 8-bit CPU. The system was released in North America in 1989, where it performed poorly. However, it was released as the PC Engine in Japan, where it was considered a success. The TurboGrafx 16 called it quits after just 4 years with Bonk 3, Bonk's Big Adventure. The game was a TurboGrafx 16 exclusive up until this point, but Bonk would go on to have further adventures on other consoles later on. For the PC Engine in Japan, the last game was a survival horror game titled Dead of the Brain Part 1 and 2
Says less than 5 minutes.
1999. Capping off the 8-bit era would be a series of handheld consoles. The first and most popular among them would prove to be the Nintendo Game Boy. It was released in 1989 and was the first system to truly popularize the concept of handheld video games. The last game released for the system in North America was Pokemon Yellow in 1999. Nintendo, I choose you. However, Japan would go on to release the last official title for the system with, here we go, Shikakui Atama o Ryuku Suru Kanji no Tatsuji on March 30th, 2001. But upon further research, it looks like the actual last game might have been One Piece Mogoroshi no Grand Line Ukenki in 2002. It was released for the Game Boy Color, but was also backwards compatible with the original Game Boy, technically making it the last official title for the system. The Atari Lynx was also released in 1989. Despite being a more powerful console and having a color screen, it didn't do as well as the Game Boy. This was due to a number of reasons, chief among them being the console's extremely poor battery life. Atari shut down production of the console in 1995 to focus on their next big project, which we'll get to a little bit later. The links would blast off that same year with Super Asteroids and Missile Command. However, upon further research, once again, it looks like Telegames released Hyperdrome in 1999, long after Atari ceased official support for the system. It was an official release though, making it the last game for the console. Next up, the Sega Game Gear was released in 1991 in North America. It too was more powerful than the Game Boy and yet did not reach the same level of popularity, despite also boasting a color display. The last morsel for gamers to sink their teeth into would be Lost World.
She looks totally fine for somebody who clearly receives severe liver damage 3 times a week. It's not even the main focus, but it's literally like a third person is in the video, and you can't avert your...
Tell them what you just told me.
Lost World, the last original title for the system. The next console on the list is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. SNES, MTV. Like its predecessor, it too became a beloved console that's still in decline to this day. Had a successful run of nearly 50 million consoles sold over its lifespan. The system popped off with its last official release of one in 1988. However, the Super Famicom, which is what the system was known as in Japan, saw its final roll with the Metal Slayer Lord.
We would like to order 20 cheeseburgers, 4 French fries, animal style. Why don't we do, the fries don't look as big as I thought, so why don't we do 6 fries instead of 4? 4 chocolate milkshakes. Have an extra large pink lemonade. I will do the same. 2 extra large pink lemonade. We would like to order 20 cheeseburgers.
Oh, learning to code is so hard. Wait, I forgot about Coding Tech. Daily bite-sized lessons, engaging activities.
Here we go. Finally. Well, looks like I got the... Alright, guys. I'm gonna... Where's the mounts? There it is. Well, I'm gonna head on to bed, guys. Y'all have a good night. I just want... Let me teleport to Gardania. But peace out, guys. Have a good night, and